just about set for action here. Starkville won the toss. They will get the football first, so we'll see whether it's going to be Luke Altmaier, Nigel Johnson. We anticipate it will be Luke Altmaier who will get the start. Coach Chris Jones told Frank, you will see both quarterbacks, and so we'll see if the flow of the game or if Coach Jones and his staff have a set plan as to whether or not Johnson comes in on either the second or third or fourth possessions. As Louisville will kick it off, it'll be Rupert Stutz who will kick it off. Jatavius Lucius and Jamari Evans back deep to receive for the Yellow Jackets. This kick is short to the far side of the field. Fair caught there by Kyrie G. And Starkville will get solid field position. They'll start 1st and 10 from the 27.
And we'll look and see who's coming out for him first. It looks like Altmaier's on the field to start the game for him at quarterback.
Yeah, we anticipated that would be the case, that Luke would get his chance to start first. And then, as I said, we'll see if it's maybe just how the game flows or if Coach Jones and his staff have decided that by Series 3 or 4, we'll get a change. First pitch, or first play, I should say, is a pitch to the near side, and not much doing there. A lot of white jerseys around the football, led by number 57, Omari Macon, the junior defensive tackle, as Marion Howard was brought down for no gain. And Starkville, as they often do, will get back to the line of scrimmage, and we've got a whistle before the ball is snapped. As the Yellow Jackets like to go fast. And it'll be offsides against Louisville. So that will move it up 5 yards to the 31. It'll be 2nd down and 5. First time these two teams have met since 2010. 60th meeting between Starkville and Louisville. Kind of an old-fashioned rivalry. 2nd down, Howard straight ahead. And he's going to be right at the first down marker. I believe we'll have it at the 37.
This is a good way to get started here tonight and get some first downs, move the ball, run some clock.
Well, they're going to say he's just a tad bit short. I'm surprised. I mean, he needed 37. He's got the 37. Didn't even measure. Now they're going to stop it. I was about to say, I'm not sure how you don't at least either measure that. I mean, they're going to say now that he got the first down. So the officials a little bit behind early. But if you're Starkville, that's exactly what you need to see. The one question coming in this year was, could they run the football and be a balanced offense and not rely so much on the passing game? It's been one of the reasons why they've struggled the first couple of weeks. But a good sign early. Altmaier, his first throw of the contest, little drag route. This is Lucius, far side. He's inside Louisville territory and delivers a big hit inside the 35-yard line. And Starkville on the move early.
Yeah, there was no one around for miles on that play. He had plenty of room to work with and got a nice big gain on the play.
They'll put it at the 35-yard line. So 32 on that pass play. Back to the ground come the Yellow Jackets, and it's a tackle for loss by Keandre Gill. Jordan Mitchell, the tailback, got the carry, and he was upended immediately. As Gill got in the backfield, it'll be a loss of 7.
Yeah, I'll be curious if they're able to get any runs to the right side of the field tonight. They're getting nothing much from their right tackle tonight so far.
Altmaier will swing it out to the far sideline. This is Rufus Harvey, and Harvey will slide his way back to the original line of scrimmage. And that's one of the things this Starkville offense has. So many weapons. We talk about Altmaier at the quarterback spot. But Rufus Harvey has been awfully good. And Jatavius Lucius in there as well.
They do have 3 different guys with multiple touchdowns through the air this season. So
you got Kyrie Gee, number 5, has been productive as well. Altmaier, pressure from the backside, evades one defender, heads up the field. He's going to be, I think, a tad shy. Well, no, they're going to give him. At first, the official on the far side was going to give him the 25. Now it appears as though he might be a tad bit short. They will at least look at it for a second. Might measure this. I thought Altmaier's knee was down maybe a yard shy, and they will put it at the 26. So it will be 4th down and 1, but Altmaier did a great job to step up in the pocket and avoid that sack. As The Wildcats were getting pressure from the backside. So first major play in this ball game, 4th and 1 for the Yellow Jackets. They'll go straight ahead. It'll be a first down. It's a big play inside the 15 and inside the 10-yard line. A big run there for the Yellow Jackets as once again it's a Marion Howard.
It was like a screen door out there for him. You know, he ran straight up the middle and didn't get stopped until the cornerback got to him.
They'll go fast again. Altmaier looks to throw. Near side, it's complete. Touchdown, Yellow Jackets. And boy, he was terrific on that opening drive. It's Rufus Harvey from 9 yards out, and Starkville leads it 6-0.
And that's about as good as you can hope for from your first drive of the game. Move it down the field, score in front of this home crowd here tonight.
So Luke Altmaier, after being benched last week, comes in and performs exceptionally well on that first possession. Was perfect through the air and ends it with a 9-yard touchdown strike to Rufus Harvey. Peyton Rogers on to attempt the point after, and it is good. Your score with 9:33 to go in the first quarter. Starkville 7, Louisville nothing. We'll step aside. You're watching high school football on Max South Sports. Yellow Jackets take the opening kickoff, and they drive it down the field for a touchdown. Rogers will angle this kick to the far side of the field. David Haynes, number 5, will take it, and he's got a big hole right side up near midfield. A terrific return for the Wildcats as they will have great field position against this Starkville defense. And Frank, let's go back and visit that touchdown pass from Luke Altmaier and your vision and your view from the sidelines.
It looked like it was a little crossing route, and the defender just didn't know whether he was supposed to go out there with him or not. No real pick play on it. Well run, well executed play, but a little answer from Louisville right here.
Yeah, you're right about that. Wide open receiver on the near side. Altmaier certainly had an easy pitch and catch and cashed in. Now Louisville will start from the 49 after that great kickoff return, and they might find themselves with a 1st and 5 inside Yellow Jacket territory.
Yeah, great play by the quarterback, Dre Shoemaker, on that one. He really got them to jump across on that one.
Shoemaker, a big factor in their state championship last year. A senior, 5'11", 175, one of the more experienced quarterbacks of any of the teams that we will see. He's played a lot of football. They will put a lot on him. He can throw it, but certainly dangerous in the open field with his legs. And they'll begin with him off that left side. It won't be much, maybe 3, as that Starkville defense shows up big, led by Jamari Evans, the senior defensive back.
And you got to think, even in a 5-wide set, you know, Starkville High is going to be thinking run for a lot of this game because they have so much talent on the ground game.
So they'll put it at the 44. 2nd and 3. Under pressure and sacked back on the Louisville side of the field as Shoemaker just fell down. He got pressure in his face, had nowhere to go with it. And a huge loss back to the Louisville 48 that will bring up 3rd and long.
And it looks like it might have been sort of a bad snap for him, too. He was already on the ground by the time the guys were in his face. But at that point, you just kind of have to take the sack. You know, don't make it any worse for yourself.
So 3rd and 11 for the Wildcats. I mentioned that Shoemaker could certainly throw it, but they definitely would like to stay in that short yardage to use Shoemaker more in the run game. As the play clock is at 5, they'll have to hurry it up. Play clock at 2, at 1, and they didn't get it off. It's either going to be a false start or delay a game. Either way, this will be 5 yards against Louisville.
And definitely not what they needed here. Already 3rd and long, and it's going to push him even further back, force him through the air.
Oh, they're going to say a timeout called by Louisville. That will save 5 yards there. We'll step aside as well. Starkville by 7 on Max South Sports. Back out of the timeout, 3rd and 11 for the Wildcats. Opening possession, Shoemaker to the near side. Pass is incomplete, was behind the intended receiver, Jaquavius Hawthorne, and he was nearly blown up by one of the Starkville defensive backs. So fortunately for him, he was unable to catch that, and a promising drive for Louisville will end as they'll send the punting unit out.
And now Starkville High School's offense about to get back on the field. You got to wonder as coach. I feel like every time Starkville High gets on offense tonight, we're going to wonder, are we going to see Altmeyer? Are we going to see Nigel Johnson? You know, what is he going to be doing from offensive drive to offensive drive?
I would imagine based off that first performance, it'll be Luke Altmeyer until that offense doesn't look like a well-oiled machine. Stutz is back out to punt it. Jatavius Lucius is standing at his own 20-yard line to field this one. And it's a pretty good punt, but right to Lucius inside the 15. Misses one tackle. Will head to the far side before being wrapped down a little across the 20-yard line. So decent starting field position for the Yellow Jackets, and certainly their defensive prowess on display there after the special teams gave up a big kickoff return. But Louisville had 2nd down and 3 and ended up with a sack and an incomplete pass. And now you'll have to deal with that Starkville offense, which looked spectacular on its opening possession. Traveling 73 yards, Luke Altmeyer perfect on the possession. And he'll be back out there to quarterback this drive as well. Pass to the near side. This is Rufus Harvey, and he is dragged down from the backside. What a great job by Louisville. Number 30, Christian Hopkins, the senior middle linebacker, able to prevent Harvey from turning the corner.
Yeah, and if he had gotten around that corner, he had some field to work with. It could have easily been a 1st down, maybe even more for him.
There'll be no gain on the play as the Yellow Jackets are back up quickly in that 4 wide receiver set. Straight ahead, it'll be Howard, and he'll get to maybe the 30-yard line. And well, so far, Yellow Jackets have done a spectacular job running the football. They'll give Howard 7 on that run. So 3rd down and 3. Louisville desperately needs a stop here. They'll go right back to the ground game, and I don't know. It's going to be awfully close. He needed the 33. Right now the spot is showing at the 32, which would be a yard shy, and that's exactly what we have. It'll be 4th down and 1. The offense back on the field. Altmeyer is in the shotgun. Starkville going quickly. They're going to gamble this deep in their own territory. 25 on the play clock. Well, this ought to tell you everything you need to know about the confidence that Coach Jones has in his offensive unit. Louisville could get a big stop here. It'll be 4th and 1, up the middle, and 1st down for the Yellow Jackets to the 37-yard line. Boy, Jordan Mitchell able to get straight up the field, and a gambler is Chris Jones. Twice he's gone for it on 4th down. Both times he's succeeded.
Yeah, I've never seen him go from that far back in his own territory, almost a 30-yard line on that one. About as risky as it gets this early in the game.
So a fresh set of downs for the Yellow Jackets. Lucius in motion, little tunnel screen to the far side, and Louisville there to blow it up. Wildcats with a terrific job in the secondary. Orion Thompson made that catch, and number 37, Shantez Timms, the sophomore linebacker, able to get through. Wildcats have had a couple of tackles for loss. They just haven't been able to get the big stop. They'll force the Yellow Jackets into 2nd and long here with Altmaier again in that 4 wide receiver set. To the near side, over the middle, it's complete to Harvey. He's got a lot of room far side. Rufus Harvey, one man to beat, straight ahead, breaks a tackle, and finally dragged down inside the 20-yard line. Another big play for the Yellow Jackets.
And Harvey has been one of these guys all season long making huge plays for the Yellow Jackets, but that one right there, that might be the play of the season so far for him.
It'll be a 49-yard gain as they put it at the 17-yard line. As Harvey, you see on the replay there, so explosive in space, turned around Tyrell Timms, the junior free safety. And Altmaier back up with it quickly. He's got a wide open receiver over the middle. Instead, he comes to the near side to Harvey. The pass is incomplete, but there is a penalty flag that would lead you to believe it's going to be against the Wildcats. But he had a wide open receiver right over the middle of the field and just did not see him. I believe that was number 10, Keyshawn Lawrence. But it looks like it's going to be free yards for the Yellow Jackets anyway.
And Altmaier's been perfect on the day, 6 of 6 for 90 yards and a touchdown. You can't ask for more from your quarterback.
We'll get the official call. So pass interference against the Wildcats will move the football inside the 10, and it'll be 1st and goal from the 8. As the Yellow Jackets try to make it 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Altmaier going to keep it himself straight ahead. Nobody around. Touchdown, Starkville. And just like that, the Yellow Jackets now lead it 13-0.
Second drive for them. Fantastic. I mean, what more does Coach need to see from Altmaier? Altmaier, he remembers what happened last week.
9-yard passing touchdown on the opening possession, an 8-yard run on this possession as Peyton Rogers will kick the extra point. And you see there, nobody in the middle of the field. The seas just parted, and Altmaier able to scoot in with no pressure whatsoever. Rogers able to knock the extra point through. 4:59 to play first quarter. 14-0 our score. This is high school football on Max South Sports. Perfection so far for the Starkville Yellow Jackets as Luke Altmaier threw 2 drives, 6 of 6, 90 yards, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown. And the Yellow Jackets have gambled a couple of times as well. They converted a 4th down deep inside Louisville territory on the opening possession. And on that drive, they had 4th and 1 at their own 27 before gambling and getting a 1st down. And both have paid off, and now this Louisville Wildcat offense must answer as they're in danger of being run out of the stadium early in this ball game. Rogers will kick it off. It'll be taken at the 6-yard line. Louisville got a big return last time, not quite as large. Still good field position for Shoemaker and company, but they're going to find a Starkville defense that is already forced a 3-and-out and has certainly played with a little chip on their shoulder. They were run around last week against West Point. Nobody typically runs right over the Starkville Yellow Jackets. West Point did so over 40 points. You know they want to come back and play well this week.
Yeah, and going up 14-0 this early in the game, Louisville still has a chance to run their offense the way they want to, but another score, another few points on the board, they might lose that privilege.
It'll be a direct snap to Shoemaker far side. He's going to lose yards. Well, that Starkville defense so quick. We talked about the guys they lost off of last year's team, Clemens and Zach Edwards. They're still incredibly fast and athletic, and going side to side, not the recipe to get yards against this team.
And it really looks like Starkville High is going to force them to go through the air to get some positive yardage in this game here tonight because they're stopping everything on the ground.
If Louisville gets themselves into 2nd and 3rd and long, can Dre Shoemaker make throws? We'll find out tonight. Quick pass to the near side. It's caught by Caleb Mosley, but he's met immediately by Jamari Evans. That'll be a short gain back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's not going to get it done. That Starkville defensive front just forces teams to throw quick instead of having their quarterback go through their progressions. And now it'll be 3rd down and 10 as Louisville trying to avoid its second straight 3-and-out. They'll need the 36-yard line.
Watch him go to Mosley here again. That has been his guy on the season, so I won't be surprised to see him.
Oh, they're just going to go with a draw play up the middle. That one won't net anywhere close to 10 yards as the Yellow Jackets close the hole quickly. And it will be, once again, a 3-and-out force by this Starkville defense.
Nothing's going right for Louisville on offense so far this game, or defense for that fact, and they're about to give Starkville High the ball back, probably some pretty good field position, and we've seen Starkville High already go for it on 4th down, and they're, what more can you ask for from the Yellow Jackets here tonight?
Jamari Evans, Justice Robinson, Amir Taylor all in on that stop. So many black jerseys around the football. They do a terrific job of gang tackling. As Stutes will punt it away again. Lucius at his own 39. And this one's going to come right to him. He'll field it from the 36. Well, that may be a block in the back. Don't see a penalty flag. Lucius to the far side of the field, and he'll be brought down at the 46-yard line. I believe that the Yellow Jackets may have gotten away with a push in the back right there as Lucius made the catch, but no flag. And it'll be great field position for Starkville. You see right there in the middle of the field, Kyrie Gee, number 5, may have gotten the arms extended. The officials say no. And now we will, for the first time tonight, see a new quarterback for the Yellow Jackets. It will be number 12, Nigel Johnson, the junior, who came in and replaced Luke Altmaier last week through 3 touchdown passes. So certainly wasn't the flow of the ball game, because otherwise you'd keep Altmaier in there with the 2 perfect possessions. So we'll see if Johnson can keep the scoring streak going. And on 1st down, he'll just hand it straight up the middle, and a nice run to the near side. That's Jordan Mitchell, and he runs hard to the Louisville 49-yard line. And as much as we've talked about as he'll have to come off the field as his helmet popped off, and you see the replay as Mitchell able to spin and break a couple of tackles and absolutely got it ripped off by Jemiah Harden, the senior outside linebacker. But as much as we've harped on Luke Altmaier, and for good reason, this Starkville running game has been much more potent tonight than we've seen. This will be the second time we've seen them, but certainly following them, they haven't been able to run the football as well. As Howard comes to the near side, and he's going to be gang tackled for no gain as Louisville able to get there in a hurry. That time it was Jakevius Hibbler, the senior outside linebacker, on the stop.
You really didn't expect that coming into tonight's game for them to you pounded it on the ground so much out there.
So 3rd down and 6 for the Yellow Jackets. We'll see if Nigel Johnson can convert a 3rd down. Louisville desperately needs a stop. Johnson will look to throw far side, wide open. He's going to have a 1st down. Another big play inside the 40, but there comes a penalty flag, and we're going to have a block in the back. No question about it. Joshua Aka was on the reception and would have had the 1st down, but that was a clear block in the back. In fact, there are 2 penalty flags on the far side of the field.
Yeah, and that's about as blatant as it can be out there, right? And I see multiple flags, so I mean, multiple referees saw that. We saw it from all the way up here in the booth.
Well, it's going to be a spot foul, so it will negate the first down, but Starkville may not lose quite as much if it were from the original line of scrimmage. Well, they're going to put the football all the way back at the Starkville 43-yard line. You'll see on the replay here to the far side, and definitely an easy call to make. And two officials threw their flags. So now 3rd down and long for the Yellow Jackets. They've got to get it to the Louisville 44-yard line. Johnson going to throw a screen to the far side. This is Mitchell, and Mitchell is going to be stopped just a yard shy at the Wildcat 45-yard line. And if Chris Jones was able to roll the dice twice already, you know he's going to go for it here. This will be the 3rd time the Yellow Jackets will go for it on 4th down in this quarter, as Johnson will remain in the contest. I continue to say Louisville needs a big stop. They could certainly use one here. Starkville has been manhandling them at the line of scrimmage. They'll go for it straight ahead. Starkville's going to have it, as that offensive line again provides a ton of running room. Jordan Mitchell, who's gotten a ton of carries in this first quarter, down to the 40-yard line, and Louisville just no answer for this Starkville offense.
And at some point tonight, we're going to have to ask the question, is Coach just mad at the punter?
Straight ahead, and Howard stacked up to the line of scrimmage. She gets maybe 2. That's a funny question. I'm just guessing he's looking at the way this offense has moved, and we know how explosive Starkville can be. As I mentioned, the one question coming into this 2019 campaign offensively was, could they replace Rodriguez-Clark? Could they run the football effectively and provide some balance? They haven't been able to do that, and that's what has hurt them so far. As that's the end of the first quarter, your score is Starkville 14, Louisville nothing. And we'll go down to Frank, who's on the sidelines now. Frank, take it away.
As we enjoy this beautiful sunset here in Starkville behind us, don't forget we'll have the fan of the game coming up at the end of the 3rd quarter. At the end of the ball game, we'll have our coach, our winning coach, and our player of the game. And you can check out all that on MaxSouth.com, the website, and all the pictures and the replays. We appreciate you joining us for this game of the week right here on Max South Sports. Guys, back to you.
Frank, thank you very much. And I've got a sneak peek of who he's going to pick for the fan of the game, and if it comes to fruition, it's going to be pretty good. Frank is on the prowl already for that. As we end the first quarter of play, you got Starkville leading at 14-0, and Rick, obviously not much in the way of resistance they faced from this Louisville defense so far.
Yeah, and as a coach, you kind of have to look at it, after this game tonight so far. If it continues going this way, what can you tell them? I mean, this is a team that has clearly shown no respect to your defense, going for it on 4th down 3 times in the first quarter of the game.
Yeah, one on their own 27-yard line. So Johnson is going to continue to engineer this drive. 2nd down and 8. He'll fake the pitch, looking to throw, comes to the near side, and it's complete to Joshua Aka. I believe that's number 13.
And Aka's gotten up twice now for some catches. He's shown some hops in his game tonight.
Jamarcus Island on that stop, and you'll see there, throw behind him, but Aka does a good job to haul that in. It'll be 3rd and 5 for the Yellow Jackets from the 37. We'd expect maybe 2-down territory. Johnson pass over the middle. It's incomplete, a little bit too much on it. And fortunately for Johnson and the Yellow Jackets, that one fell incomplete, just too hot over the middle. And finally, Louisville gets a 3rd down stop with a 4th down and long coming. So we'll see if Coach Chris Jones keeps the offense on the field. Right now, they're still there. This will be the 4th down attempt for the Yellow Jackets. They have converted successfully all 3. This will be the longest. They'll need the 31.
And Coach is putting a lot of trust in both of his quarterbacks tonight. Both quarterbacks are going to get a chance to convert on 4th down already.
Louisville brings some pressure. Johnson going to scramble, heads to the far side. He's under pressure, and he's going to be sacked, and Louisville finally gets off the field. A 4th down stop led by Jamarcus Island, number 27, and the Wildcats will take over on downs.
We really thought from this angle that we see here, so much room to move on the right side of the field. We really thought he was going to get out of the pocket, but great work by the Louisville defense. Omari Macon saw that hole, closed it so fast, got right to him, and just completely stopped the play.
Yeah, Macon did a good job cutting off Johnson's attempt to scramble to the far side of the field. So Louisville does get a stop, and after 2 touchdown drives, the decision to go to Johnson doesn't pay off with points, but Yellow Jackets do flip the field. So we'll see if Louisville can get something on 1st down, and that answer is going to be no, as the pass from Shoemaker was well behind his intended receiver. Again, that Starkville defensive front getting into his face and providing some pressure.
And their defensive backfield has been great at locking down these receivers. They haven't gotten anything further than 5 yards out. Any good looks tonight, let alone a completed pass.
Michael Foster, a senior running back, 5'10", 205 in the backfield with Shoemaker. Louisville hasn't been able to find a running game. They'll go with Foster straight ahead, and there's just nothing there as Foster brought down by Jalen Ware, number 8. Only a gain of 1. At 3-man front, so difficult to figure out where the Yellow Jackets are going to bring those linebackers and those rush ins in this 3-4. And the offensive line having trouble getting any sort of push. And once again, Louisville looking at 3rd and long.
And Coach Shorter, I feel like, he's just trying to get positive yardage on these offensive drives. So far, he's not had much tonight.
They'll have to get it to the Starkville 49-yard line as the play clock is at 8. Louisville 0 for 2 on 3rd down. Shoemaker over the middle, wide open. They'll convert, in a big play finally for the Wildcats. Inside the Starkville 40-yard line, a wide open receiver over the middle. That was Caleb Mosley. And a big play for the offense.
And he's been his guy all season long. 3 of his 4 touchdowns this season have gone to him. He has been his guy, and he found him open over the middle of the field.
We'll see on the replay. Starkville brought the blitz. Nobody accounted for Mosley over the middle, and once he caught it, he was explosive in the open field. So 1st and 10 for the Wildcats at the Starkville 37-yard line. As Mosley in motion, and this is going to be a penalty against the Wildcats. Movement up front on that offensive line.
It was like a miscommunication between the quarterback and the center on that one. He had had Mosley going to the other side of the field, and he was ready for the ball, and the center didn't hear him, I guess, and kind of blew any chance they had of moving it positive, getting some positive yardage out here.
So that will spot it back at the 42-yard line, 1st and 15.
Coach Shorter's got to like what he's seeing on this drive so far. At least they were moving the ball.
Well, Shoemaker had some time and delivered a strike. He'll need some again. Fade route to the near side. Passes complete down inside the 20-yard line. That's Kirk, the senior wide receiver. A great throw there by Shoemaker. 2 big chunk plays.
And these big plays, Coach Jones, they're up 2 possessions here at home, but, he cannot be happy with seeing these 2 big 20-plus yard plays through the air happen on the same drive.
Kirk listed at 6'3", 190 pounds. One of those senior wide receivers, and this by far the best drive of the night for the Wildcats inside the red zone early in this 2nd quarter. But we're going to have another penalty on that offensive line, and I believe it's going to be the left tackle, Nazir Brown.
Yeah, that's what it looked like from up here. Just miscommunication. Looks like maybe the Starkville High defensive line got him to jump.
Brown, a senior offensive lineman, 6'2", 330. And that's the 2nd penalty on this drive on the Louisville front. So far, the Wildcats have been able to overcome that, but down here in the red zone where it gets a little more compressed, will be much more tough to get the ball in that end zone. Shoemaker going to throw it again. Far side, incomplete. The throw was a little bit high for Dontavius Triplett. And if that throw is on the money, Triplett's got a chance to catch and run. If not for a touchdown, perhaps a first down.
And his guys are finding separation out there. I know how difficult it is to see from the pocket, but from up here, you know, it's clear as day to us. And he's got guys separating from these defensive backs for Starkville High. If he can just connect with them, he can keep making these big gains, maybe get some points on the board for him here tonight.
2nd and 15 for the Wildcats. And Shoemaker will look at a 4 wide receiver set. They've thrown it a lot more than I thought they would tonight. They'll come underneath and swing it. And that one is going to be to tip it. And he's going to get maybe a yard, but that's it. As again, the Starkville defensive front able to get out in space and tackle as that defense continues to show their athleticism.
Looks like Louisville's going to take a little bit of time on this one. It being 3rd and long, and they've been moving it down the field, so.
The penalty was the illegal formation against the Wildcats, and Starkville ends up declining the penalty. It'll be 3rd down. A yard marker had 4th down on the far side, but they've got it corrected. It'll be 3rd down. They'll spot the football. They had it at the 23. Is where they say Tippett was brought down. This would be the longest conversion of the night for the Wildcats should they get it. Already converted a 3rd and 11 on this possession. And Shoemaker, when he's had time, has delivered a couple of really nice throws. That one that he missed to number 15, Dontavius Triplett, a moment ago, perhaps could come back and cost the Wildcats if they don't get one in the end zone.
Looks like Coach Jones wants to have a few words with the referees down on the field.
Well, down the distance marker on the far sideline had it incorrect. It should be 3rd down. They had it 4th down. I think Coach Jones was just trying to get an explanation, make sure that it was, in fact, 3rd down, and his unit didn't have to be out there an extra play. But it will be a 3rd down. Oh, now they're going to take the penalty, and that will make it 2nd down as they put it at the 28-yard line. So instead of taking the play, which would put it 3rd down and long, they're going to make it 2nd down and even longer, as the throw is going to have to get inside the 10.
Well, Coach has been taking a lot of risk here tonight, going for it on 4th down 4 different times already, but to decline a penalty when a team is 3rd and 14 is
Shoemaker under duress, comes to the near side, will tuck it and run, and he'll get inside the 25 and out of bounds as the Starkville defensive front flushed him out of the pocket. Good decision by Shoemaker not to try to force anything down the field. All of his receivers recovered. So now 3rd down from the 23-yard line, so 3rd and 15 for Louisville.
And we really haven't seen him use his legs much here tonight. He can get outside of the pocket, but when the pocket's collapsing that fast, there's not really much he can do.
We ended up picking up 5 yards on that run. Yellow Jackets will still certainly take that. Shoemaker will swing it out to the far side of the field, and this one not going to go for very much. And there are 5 black jerseys there to bring down the receiver, Christian Rush, who had nowhere to go with the football. And the Yellow Jackets bend but don't break in the red zone.
You kind of got to question the play call. He's had a lot of success throwing over the middle of the field, those big chunk plays, and then he goes out for a wide receiver screen that has been shut down. Anything on the offensive line tonight, any play, any run, any screen has just been shut down by that defensive line for Starkville High.
They'll give it a yards gain to the 22, so 4th and 14. Yellow Jackets looking for a big 4th down stop. Wildcats looking for can run. He's in trouble. He's not going to get there, and he'll just run out of bounds. It'll be a turnover, and the Yellow Jackets will take over at their own 19-yard line.
You got to wonder if Louisville's defense is able to kind of stop them for the rest of the quarter. Maybe, should we have gotten points on the board here? Should we have tried to get the 3 points?
It would have been a 39-yard field goal, and Coach Shorter just believing that maybe Roper Stutz, I beg your pardon, didn't have the leg to get there. They'll put it at the 21. That's where they say Shoemaker stepped out of bounds. So a couple of big pass plays, but not much else for Louisville. And it'll be the 4th possession for the Yellow Jackets. And again, we'll see Nigel Johnson unsuccessful in keeping the touchdown streak alive on his first possession. And they'll start on the ground, and they'll start with a tackle for loss. And again, it's Omari Macon, the junior defensive tackle, number 57 on the play.
And there was nothing doing on that one. They just got straight through that offensive line and took them down.
It'll be a loss of 2 on the play. And this was the big question coming into tonight. Would there be a script as far as the quarterbacks were concerned, or would it be sort of how the game played out? Definitely a script, and Johnson is going to be tackled at the 20-yard line. Jakevius Hibbler, the senior outside linebacker, number 22, got there first, and Johnson did a great job to avoid the sack, but only got a yard on the run.
And he's got some moves in the pocket. He had some swift moves. Him and Altmaier both been pretty solid in the pocket tonight at evading pressure.
So now 3rd down and 11 for the Yellow Jackets, and Louisville a chance to remain in this ball game if they can get a stop here. You wonder if Coach Jones is maybe second-guessing himself with how well Altmaier had this offense rolling. Johnson under duress will come to the near side. A lot of room, but he's not going to get there as Hibbler is going to drag him down at around the 22, maybe the 23-yard line. And that will be a punting situation. I beg your pardon, it was number 30, Christian Hopkins, the senior middle linebacker, who made the tackle on Johnson. And that will get the punting unit out there. So Johnson's 2 drives so far, turnover on downs and a 3-and-out deep in their own territory. And Louisville having a much better defensive performance with Luke Altmaier watching from the sidelines.
And I don't know if it was all just Altmaier being out. Their defense is really kind of clicking on all cylinders these past 2 drives for them.
Tyrell Timms, Kylan Tippett, number 3, both back, but we've got a penalty flag before the ball was snapped. If this is on Louisville, this is going to be a 1st down for the Yellow Jackets. Everybody kind of looking. The officials don't really seem to have any sort of consensus at the moment.
It is a very deep thrown flag.
They will wave it off, say no flag, so we will punt it again. Peyton Rogers on for his first punt attempt of the night.
I'm curious what he saw back there, though, from that far back on this play. Nothing had really happened yet.
So again, Timms and Tippett back to receive for the Wildcats. As Rogers will boot it away, and a really good kick that will be taken by Timms, and he will just fall down at the 36-yard line. So a good punt by Rogers, but solid field position for the Wildcats as they will take over officially at the 37-yard line. So we saw a couple of nice pass plays from Shoemaker on the previous possession. Not much as far as the ground game is concerned. And while there were some successful throws, you got to figure Starkville is just going to pin their ears back and come after the quarterback.
I mean, it's been working well for them all day. Why change it now? I mean, the big chunk plays, you can stop. You know, you can put your guys a little further back. Maybe keep a closer eye on Mosley, who's been their guy tonight for Shoemaker. But getting to the quarterback is what they've done best tonight, and they just have to keep going at it. Because if he's under pressure, he's not going to be able to do much.
So you just wonder now if we'll see Altmaier for the 3rd time tonight on the 5th possession. And you know, certainly Louisville's defense seems to have settled in. They certainly have played much better, but I think the way Luke Altmaier went up and down the field leading this offense, a little surprised that he was pulled, but coaches had a game plan, obviously, and they are going to stick to it. They're fortunate the defense has played exceptionally well early. It was a big drive for Louisville to get inside the red zone, but Starkville's defense held firm, showed a lot of athleticism and the speed that they've been known for the last couple of years. And they'll need to be good again on this possession as the Wildcats will look to march down the field. They've got plenty of time. with 2 timeouts remaining, and Louisville will get the football to start the second half, so that could play into how Coach Shorter wants to finish the final 5:49.
And I wonder if Louisville is going to try to even try to keep running the ball here tonight. They've had most of their success through the air, so you got to think, 5.5 minutes left in the half. Let's get some yardage, get some big plays.
Well, he's found his favorite target, Caleb Mosley, a couple of times. And then also got a great catch from Kirk on the back shoulder throw down the field. Michael Foster in the backfield for the Wildcats. Shoemaker going to throw. He'll pump it and head up the field, and he just stops and allows a couple of black jerseys to make the tackle. And they'll put it at the 39. And, boy, Shoemaker, I thought if he just continues, may have been able to get a few more yards. Instead, stopped and allowed the Starkville defense to corral him.
Yeah, it looks like they got some spooks in him here tonight. As soon as he got through the middle, he ran into a few Starkville High School defenders, and he said, not today, not tonight.
So 2nd and 8. As Louisville a tad more deliberate so far on this possession. Play clock already under 10. Shoemaker going to look to throw, and he'll head to the far side of the field. It's going to be caught. And this is going to be Mosley far side, and Mosley steps out of bounds. So that's the second big play from the favorite target of Shoemaker, Caleb Mosley, and it'll be a first down deep inside Starkville territory.
And you got to think Coach Jones is saying, guys, this is their guy. We have to, put 2 guys on him, put 3 guys on him. You got to do something more than they're doing right now when covering Caleb Mosley, because he's been Shoemaker's guy tonight.
30 yards on the pass and catch down to the 31 of the Yellow Jackets. And that was sort of a safety valve throw, odd considering how great Mosley is, but the Yellow Jackets didn't cover him, and they paid for it. So second possession in which Louisville has driven it on this Starkville defense, and all coming through the air.
And Shoemaker's quietly had a pretty good game through the air so far, 6 of 9 for 78 yards in the first half.
First down, fade rass to the near side, and that one a little too far, intended for Kirk, as Shoemaker tried for it all. Good coverage by the Yellow Jackets secondary.
Yeah, Starkville High had him beat every step of the way. He never really got that step advantage you'd like to see on him, and Shoemaker put a pretty ball there. It hit the 1 yard line, almost right on it.
The Kyrie Gee, number 5, lined up one-on-one to the bottom of your screen on the 6'3 senior Kirk.
Shoemaker's going to take a second, maybe change a play up on the line.
Got 8 on the play clock. They will go on the ground straight ahead. The draw play successful. It's Foster who bounces to the outside, inside the 10, inside the 5. No flags. Touchdown Wildcats. A terrific run from 31 yards out, and Michael Foster gets the Wildcats on the board.
So I'm guessing we're about to see Altmaier back in the game before the end of the half.
Well, you look at the replay here. The offensive line did a great job. Yellow Jackets came with a pass rush on the outside. Wildcats countered with that draw play up the middle, and Foster went untouched once he got to the second level. That's a big drive there, and Louisville with a chance to cut this lead in half as Roper Stutes, the senior kicker, out there to attempt the point after. His kick is up, and it is good. Your new score with 4:15 to play in the half. Louisville 14, Starkville 7. We'll be right back on Max South Sports. Roper Stutes will kick it off. It'll be a kick on the far side of the field, and that one goes out of bounds. Not his best effort, and certainly not what Coach Shorter wanted after that brilliant drive and the 31-yard scamper by Michael Foster. So Starkville will get great field position from the 35-yard line, and we will see Luke Altmaier, who quarterbacked 2 perfect drives to open the contest, give the Yellow Jackets a 14-0 lead. Then they went to Nigel Johnson for 2 possessions that netted 0 points, and we'll see if Altmaier can rekindle the magic. But before that, let's go down to Frank. And Frank, what have you seen down there from the sidelines that's intrigued you this first half?
Interesting thing is, as you mentioned, we'll see if Altmaier can get back in rhythm. On that last touchdown by Louisville, that they caught Keyshawn Lawrence, the leading tackler, one of the leading tacklers for Starkville, coming into tonight's game with 26 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. They caught him on a blitz. That draw was the perfect call against that defense they were facing.
And Rick mentioned that they were changing the play at the line of scrimmage, and you're right about that. Certainly the perfect call. So we'll see if Altmaier can get this offense rolling again. They'll start on the ground straight ahead. They put the football at the 39, and that run by Amarian Howard to the 44. They like to go fast with Altmaier in the game. Play clock at 30, and they're close to snapping it, but Altmaier will check with the sidelines. Certainly plenty enough time for the Yellow Jackets. They've got all 3 timeouts left and 3:45 to go in the half. And, boy, no flag. There was some movement on the left side of the offensive line. The pass is complete to Lucius, who breaks the tackle, evades a defender, and is brought down at the 36-yard line. Boy, the Yellow Jackets got lucky there. Clear movement on the left side of that line, and the officials missed it. The Yellow Jackets took advantage of it, and Altmaier continues to be perfect on the night.
Yeah, and you got to think Louisville was pointing at him. You know, maybe they thought the play was going to be canceled. They were waiting for a whistle, but if you don't hear a whistle, you got to keep playing. You know, you got to keep playing the same way. You can't just wait for it.
20 yards on that pass completion, and Altmaier tonight, 7 of 7 for 110 yards. And we've got a penalty flag at the top of the screen.
Wondering if someone lined up wrong on the line of scrimmage down there.
Going to be a sideline warning against the Wildcats, and you can bet that's because Coach Shorter was in the ear of the referee on his sideline. He knows his team could have used that 5-yard penalty, especially with Altmaier back in the game and how well he has performed so far. 1st and 10. Altmaier straight ahead on the read option, and Altmaier dragging defenders down to the 28-yard line. And Altmaier, we've talked about his athleticism over the last year and a half, and it's always been kind of just getting on the outside, making throws, or being able to escape pressure, but showing a little toughness there with an 8-yard run.
He's had some great runs out there tonight. I mean, he got the rushing touchdown early in the game on the great read.
So 2nd and short. Yellow Jackets back to the ground, and not much here. In fact, it'll be a loss on the play. There's a flag thrown as well, as a host of white jerseys are there, led by Jamarcus Island, number 27. Tavoris Cooper, the junior defensive end, on the stop as well, but we'll have to check the marker.
Yeah, Starkville High definitely wants to end this quarter with some points on the board, and these penalties are really slowing it down for them, but it is giving them a chance to kind of game plan, see what they can do.
Well, they will put the football at the 34. It would be a loss of 6 on the play. And looks like this one's going to be on Starkville, as our referee's going to go over to Coach Shorter and get a decision on what he wants to do, take the play or the penalty. Either going to be looking at 3rd down and perhaps about 6 or 7, or maybe 2nd down and beyond 10.
It looks like both the teams are ready to go, too. They were lined up. They were ready. Altmaier was waiting just to get the signal to snap the ball.
You would imagine they'll take the field position just simply because of how well Altmaier throws the football. But they'll go back and mark it. Looks like perhaps they're going to take the penalty. We'll get our call here.
Holding.
It'll be a spot foul, so that will move the football back to the 44-yard line. I beg your pardon, the 39-yard line. So that'll make it 2nd down and 13 for the Yellow Jackets. So we're under 2:30 to play in this one.
See what Altmaier does here.
Louisville going to bring some pressure. Altmaier tries to avoid it, but he's going to step up and be sacked. Wildcats gamble, brought a blitz, and the first to get there, Keandre Gill. Second time we've called his name tonight. And another tackle for loss by this Louisville front.
And they are doing everything right now to get in the back of the field, not giving Altmaier much time to make decisions, you know. And one of the greatest strengths he has is seeing the field and finding his guys. But if this Louisville defense is going to, come on like this, I don't know what Altmaier's going to be back there.
It'll be 3rd and 15 for the Jackets. They've got to get it to the 26-yard line. Altmaier to the near side. Pass is going to be incomplete. Some pressure again got there. And Louisville will hold on 3rd down and long. A terrific defensive stop as the Yellow Jackets will bring in the punting unit.
And they are going to punt. Maybe this was 4-down territory, but the way Louisville's moving the ball, I wouldn't really want to put it back in their hands with this much field position to work with.
Well, and the hope for Chris Jones is that Rogers can pin the Wildcats back. Right now, they don't have anybody to receive. They're in the ultimate punt safe. They've essentially got their defense on the field playing as if this were 4th and 16. Now they're going to bring everybody to the line of scrimmage. I don't think they'll come after this, but they might. Matter of fact, they are going to. Rogers is able to get it off to the near side, and it will take a great bounce out of bounds at the 2-yard line. What a great punt by Rogers, and exactly what the Yellow Jackets needed, as Louisville will have to go 98 yards in 1:28 to tie this before the half.
What a kick. Puts it right where he needed to and pins this Louisville offense so far back in their own territory. They're basically going to be making the play in Starkville's end zone over here.
Well, I was a little surprised that Louisville would come after the punt and not have at least somebody back there. But with the way Rogers punted that one, it really wouldn't have mattered anyway, as he did a great job with the coffin corner. And now we'll see how that changes the play calling for the Wildcats. You can certainly throw it, but obviously a hold in the end zone or a sack in the end zone gives the Yellow Jackets a couple of points. And Starkville, with all 3 of their timeouts, might be aggressive and try and call some timeouts if the Wildcats run the football.
And it looks like they got about 8 guys in the box on this play.
They're going to throw it down the middle of the field. Pass is nearly intercepted, then nearly caught by Kirk, as Kyrie Gee was on the coverage. But boy, one of those linebackers, I believe it was number 22, Justice Robinson, had a chance at an interception there. A dangerous throw by Shoemaker.
If he just got a better step on that when he jumped up, I mean, his hands were right on that pass.
So Louisville not afraid. They're going to throw the football out of the end zone there on 1st down. And Starkville almost came up with an interception that would have really changed the tide of this one. We go back to a couple of weeks ago when we were here for the Oxford-Starkville game. Yellow Jackets got a pick 6 right at the goal line that ended up being a huge factor in that one as the game got close in the 4th quarter, as that run is going to be stopped for a minimal gain, and the Yellow Jackets are going to burn one of their 3 timeouts. A pickup of only 1 for Michael Foster, as Keyshawn Lawrence, number 10, one of the first there to make the tackle. So that'll stop the clock with 1:12 to play. We'll keep it here. And coming up at halftime, we will talk about what we've seen in the first half, get you set for quarters 3 and 4 as well. And really an interesting first half so far. I mean, we've harped on it, but I think it does certainly bear repeating. I mean, Luke Altmaier had this offense just video game style down the field. 6 of 6 for 90 yards, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown. Looked like they wouldn't punt all night. Comes out of the ball game, and since then, Starkville has not put any points on the board. Louisville has cut this to 7, and just wonder maybe if that coaching staff is second-guessing themselves.
Yeah, you got to think at least, with letting them score, make this a 1-possession game. I mean, they have a great chance here to kind of turn the tide, if they can stop them here on 3rd down. They're going to be punting out of, Starkville High's end zone over here. So, the field position they're about to get on this one is going to be pretty good to see if Altmaier can maybe put some more points on the board for the end of the half.
And a decision here for the Wildcats. Do they just play it safe and try to force Starkville to use a second timeout, or do they remain aggressive and try to pick up the 1st down? and at least keep the football. And we've got another flag. It'll be movement on that offensive line, and I believe it's the left tackle, Nazir Brown, for the second time.
It's definitely not what they needed here. It's going to push them back even further into their end zone. You know, Shoemaker can't make one wrong step back there.
So that will put the ball back at the 2-yard line. So now it'll be 3rd and 10. The original line of scrimmage can't really enforce that very much. Half the distance is going to move it back a yard. So 3rd down. Now they'll put it a step inside the 2. So we'll say 3rd and 11 for the Wildcats. And they've got to hurry. 5 on the play clock. Shoemaker, they'll hand it off straight ahead. And straight ahead is a big run and off to the races. Foster, the 50, the 40, the 30, and runs out of bounds. He ran out of gas as well, but what a huge play in this one. A gigantic run. 1st down, Wildcats.
Starkville High School, they definitely got to be second-guessing themselves now.
You see on the replay just a run straight ahead. Couple of guys miss him at the line of scrimmage. They'll say he's out at the 25-yard line. That is a 74-yard run by Michael Foster. And now the Wildcats in business with 58 seconds, 2 timeouts to try and tie this game before the half.
What a center of gravity he has. It is the lowest I've seen in a while. I mean, he's bouncing off guys left and right. Might as well be a bowling ball out there.
He's listed at 5'10", 205, so your bowling ball description is pretty accurate. Showed some speed there. He scored that 31-yard touchdown run and got what could be maybe the game-changing play if Louisville can put one in the end zone. Over the middle, passes knocked away. Good job defensively by the Yellow Jackets. That one was Jamari Evans, number 20, as Shoemaker's pass a tad behind his intended receiver.
And it was great sense of awareness for him. I mean, he just really stuck his left hand out and just slapped it right down.
Looked like he was trying to find his favorite target, Caleb Mosley, also number 7, Jaquavius Hawthorne, kind of in the area. So a big play by the Starkville secondary. 2nd down, straight ahead, and nothing doing there as Starkville blew that up. Yellow Jackets were hoping to do that on the 3rd down and long play. That'll be a loss back to the 26, and we'll have a timeout called by the Wildcats, which will stop the clock with 39 seconds. And that will leave Louisville with just one more chance to stop the clock. But, boy, you go back to a couple of things that have just kind of gone against Starkville. Again, Luke Altmaier coming out of the ball game, that 3rd down and long play, in which the Yellow Jackets thought they were just going to get an easy stop and get great field position, but Louisville with a big play, and now we've got a little drama here in the end of the 2nd quarter.
You know, I guess on Coach Jones's behalf, it seems like he was expecting some kind of pass play out of them because the play before, he had loaded everybody up in the box down there, but that next play, he only had his defensive line, maybe a linebacker or 2 over the middle. So he really put a lot of faith in his defensive tackles and defensive line to get to the quarterback to stop the play. But unfortunately, Foster had other ideas on that play of what he thought should happen.
Well, that's the 2nd time they ran that little counter play. First time, as I mentioned, went to the end zone with Foster. And that time, the Yellow Jackets just missed a tackle essentially at the line of scrimmage. So now 3rd down and 11 for the Wildcats. And we'll see if Starkville brings any pressure or if they'll just be content with rushing their front 4. They'll be content rushing their front 4. Shoemaker already under pressure, has to step up out of the pocket and is sacked back at the 31-yard line. And the Yellow Jackets got there in a hurry. As Tyrese Hopkins, number 7, the first one to get there.
And that's a few times now that Louisville has managed to get on Starkville High's side of the field, but not really able to do anything with it. Foster's give them such a great run, but then they just cannot get anything going through the air to put some points on the board.
They'll spot it officially at the 30, so 4th down and 15 for the Wildcats as Louisville burns their final timeout of the half. Certainly going to go for it here, you would imagine. It would be a 47-yarder, and they passed up a 39-yarder a couple of possessions ago. And this Starkville defense, if they get a stop here, that will be gigantic after giving up that long run to really flip the field. And at this point, probably keep Starkville from doing much offensively, although that offense can score quickly. You figure if they do get off the field, they'll have maybe 23, 24 seconds left to work with and a couple of timeouts. But they've got to get this stop first. Wildcats need to get it to the 15 for a first down.
Now, being here on the 30-yard line, if Starkville High gets the ball back, the question is, really, do you want to run some offensive plays? You're just going to have to run out the clock.
Shoemaker going to step up, fires down the field. He's got one-on-one. There's some contact. There's no flag. Boy, the Wildcats begging for a flag. That's Mosley, number 13, and he's not going to win it, but he is trying to argue his case, and now some pushing and shoving. But look at the replay here. One-on-one. And well, a ton of contact there, but two referees say nothing doing. So it'll be a turnover on downs. And Yellow Jackets will come back onto the field. It will be Luke Altmaier who will quarterback this drive. He'll have 23 seconds, 2 timeouts to work with. And first down will tell you all you need to know about the mindset. They'll start with a run straight up the middle, and this will be a penalty flag at the end of the run. We might get a face mask and an extra 15 as Amarian Howard got to the 41, which was good for a first down. You add 15 onto this, and you can be sure that Starkville's going to try to get some points.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to get, about 25, 30 yards in one play, and, with this much time left on the clock, Altmaier been pretty solid tonight. Maybe take your chance and see what you can do out there.
Well, if it is a face mask penalty, that'll be 15 added at the end of the run. That will put the football inside Louisville territory at around the 44-yard line. Oh, they're going to say no penalty flag. So they picked it up. They're going to say, we'll see on the replay here. And, boy, I thought that looked like a face mask. The officials just missed. So Louisville catches a break as Altmaier's pass on the rollout is incomplete. As that will stop the clock with 5 seconds. It looked like a face mask up here. I thought on the replay it looked like a face mask. So both teams have gotten away with penalties the last 2 plays that would have really hurt them. But now you guys got to defend one more play if you're Louisville, and you go into the break down only 7, and you'll get the football to start the second half.
We'll see if he's going to just take a shot for the end zone here.
It'll be a draw play coming to the near side. Breaks one tackle as Howard's still on his feet, and will have a good run, but finally be brought down at the Louisville 43-yard line. So that's how we will end the first half of play. Your score, the Starkville Yellow Jackets 14, the Louisville Wildcats 7. And Rick, certainly a very interesting first half, and looked like Starkville's going to run away with this one, and then Louisville ends up making a comeback.
Yeah, Louisville defense really showed up for him in the second quarter of this game. It was 14-0 for a while, and then Louisville just had some really big chunk plays to help them move it down the field. And that's kind of the difference for them in that latter part of the first half. But, Starkville High's got to get Altmaier back in there, got to get him back in his groove, and hopefully put some more points early on in the third quarter to put some distance between them and Louisville.
It's been a good first 24 minutes. We're at the break here in Starkville. We'll step aside, come back with more. You're watching high school football on Max South Sports. Big crowd here in Starkville as always as their Yellow Jackets lead at 14-7. An entertaining first 24 minutes in which we saw Luke Altmaier almost to perfection take his team down the field on the first 2 possessions, a 9-yard touchdown pass, an 8-yard touchdown run. Looked like Starkville may kind of cruise here, but then some weird things kind of happening with the quarterback situation. Give credit to Louisville for getting back in there, and we've got ourselves a ball game in the second half.
Yeah, we certainly do, and you know, there should be something said about Starkville High School's defense. In the first quarter, they were just unstoppable. They were getting to Shoemaker. They were doing everything right. I mean, I think they had -3 rushing yards for the whole first quarter of the game. But that second quarter, I don't know if they got winded, if there was some miscommunication. And you can see it here on third down. Starkville High's been 0 for 6. Louisville's been 2 for 6 tonight. And you know, and that's been the difference maker for them. And you know, Starkville High, it hasn't really mattered to them. They've gone for it on fourth down 4 different times already in this first half. But they really have to get going on their defense again and stop this run game that has appeared out of nowhere, basically out of thin air in that second quarter.
Frank, let's go down to you. Your first half thoughts and what you've seen so far.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts there, guys. Louisville and Starkville haven't played since 2010. So the familiarity between the players may not be there, but the familiarity between the coaches, and you guys talked about it. Coach Shorter brought in his Knoxville County team last year, lost 30-6 to Starkville, and he actually coached Jones in high school. Do you start tricking yourself? Oh, that coach knows me so well, knows my tendencies, I'm going to go against my own tendencies. Or do you just focus on who you are? And it's hard to tell. Starkville came out so hot, and then they kind of got away from that. The other thing is the message that Coach Jones talked about, finish. He wants his team to finish that second quarter, finish this play, finish this quarter, finish this game. On the other side, Louisville's shirts underneath their pads says locked in on 10, which is talking about their 9th state championship last year, and they're locked in on trying to get that 10th. And they have really grown up here in this second quarter and did a great job against a much bigger school. Louisville being a 4A school and Starkville being 6A with so many offensive weapons. So I'm looking forward to a fantastic second half. Just wonder what's inside those coaches' heads.
Yeah, and you also figure, too, if we'll see the second half play out like we saw in the first half, where the coaches have a designed plan for Altmaier gets this many snaps, Nigel Johnson gets this many snaps, or they just kind of let it go with what they see on the field. Fascinating to say the least, but a good one here in Starkville. We hope you'll stay with us. When we come back, it'll be the second half between Starkville and Louisville. You're watching it on Max South Sports. Welcome back to Starkville. Jeremy Kennedy, Rick Jordan, Frank Dodds with you. Start of the second half between Starkville and Louisville. Yellow Jackets with the 14-7 lead, but the Wildcats will get the football with all kinds of momentum from a good second quarter as Peyton Rogers will send this one through the end zone, and Louisville will start first and 10 at the 20. So, Rick, we saw the first 24 minutes. We talked a little bit about it at halftime. What do you expect to see here in the second half?
Well, what's been working for Louisville has been Foster. Michael Foster has been fantastic tonight, especially on Starkville High's side of the field, busting out that 70-yard run earlier, the 30-yard rushing touchdown. So you got to think they're going to try to get him going here in the second half of this game to get started. Maybe keep an eye on Starkville, see if they start loading the box or if they keep playing their guys a little further back, make Shoemaker try to get something going through the air here.
We'll get down to Frank in just a moment, kind of get his take on what he expects to see in the second half. But first, we'll have the Louisville Wildcats take the first snap of the third quarter. Shoemaker to the far side of the field, and that one incomplete. He was trying to find his favorite target, Caleb Mosley, and that's been the guy who he has targeted for most of the action tonight and all season. But he comes up short there. Frank, what do you expect to see here in this second half between two teams that have played to a 7-point game for the first half?
I think you just saw it. I think the Louisville Wildcats are going to have to win this with Dre Shoemaker one way or the other, his feet, his arm. And Starkville on the other side, they're going to have to dial up some different looks for him to stop him and then get back on track on offense.
Second down, a quick pass, and not much running room. Mosley there at the 25, which will set up third and manageable. And Frank makes a good point. Obviously, you do too as well. And the question certainly for Louisville is going to be, do they have enough offense to get the ball down the field? Most of it has been chunk plays. They haven't really sustained long drives. And then certainly for Starkville, can they get the offense rolling again? Luke Altmaier gets the Yellow Jackets into the end zone on his first two possessions, and then nothing after that. They go to the quarterback change with Nigel Johnson and just kind of seem to throw everything off. And so now we'll see defensively if Starkville can get a stop. Play clock at 6. As Shoemaker going to try and get something going, but a false start is going to make it third and long, and that's at least the third or fourth time we've seen movement early.
Yeah, and it's really, a bad start for them to start this this second half of football here tonight. The last thing you want to do is on a sort of a manageable third down here to push it back even further, almost back to the original line of scrimmage, make it a third and long instead.
We'll put the football back at the 20, so third down and 10. The only good thing for Louisville is that as long as that ball touches the 30, they'll have a first down. But Starkville will be able to pin their ears back and come after Shoemaker, who has been solid tonight with a couple of nice throws, but he's been under duress more often than not. As the Yellow Jackets look to just rush 4, Shoemaker will step up. He'll scramble to the far side, and he's going to be tackled well shy of the first down. And we've got a little pushing and shoving after the play. Louisville sideline wanted a flag, but I don't see one, as Shoemaker picked up a couple, and Jalen Ware, number 8, able to get the tackle, and we'll see the replay. Just not much. And there you see Ware kind of just, Shoemaker just a little love tap to roll him over there. And that's a big stop for the Starkville D to force a 3 and out early.
And now we're going to see if what we're guessing Altmaier is going to take back over on the offense and see if they have time to get something going here, put some points on the board to start the second half.
Well, Roper Stute did a great job to catch that one, taken by Jatavius Lucius at the 35. Comes to the near side, still on his feet, still pushing, and then finally is knocked out of bounds. So a good return there by Lucius in all that sea of humanity down there on the near sideline. And it will be Luke Altmaier who will quarterback the Yellow Jackets here in this third quarter. Good field position for Starkville at their own 44-yard line. So a chance to get their 2-score lead back. And we'll see if that Louisville defense can settle in. They certainly played much better, but a lot of it you have to figure was Altmaier coming out and their rhythm sort of being messed up. And we've got a stoppage before the first play of the drive. And Louisville will burn their first timeout of the second half. We'll step aside with them. 9:54 to go third quarter. Starkville by 7 on Max South Sports. Excellent. Out of the timeout, Yellow Jackets will have it 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. Louisville taking that timeout, still running people on the field right before the ball was snapped. Yellow Jackets like to go quickly, and certainly if they get into a rhythm, they'll do so on this drive as well. You see the 3 wide receivers at the top of the screen. That's Howard in the backfield. He'll get it straight ahead, and not much there. That Louisville defense good up the middle. As Tavares Cooper, the junior defensive end, there to make the stop, only a gain of 1.
Yeah, Altmaier, it's interesting. He had a great call on that read play for his first rushing touchdown of the game, but since then he's kind of been off on his reads. Maybe when he should keep it, he's been handing it off to Howard instead.
It'll be 2nd and 9. As Louisville going to bring a blitz. Altmaier scrambles to the far side, got a man, and pass is going to be incomplete right there in front of that Louisville bench. Would have been a terrific catch, but the throw just a tad bit low, intended for Orion Thompson, the senior wideout. And suddenly now we're looking at 3rd down and long for the Yellow Jackets, in danger of going 3 and out themselves.
Yeah, and the way they play the game, they play so fast on offense. It's kind of a risk-reward kind of situation because they're not giving their defense much time to rest if they go 3 and out here.
So do the Wildcats bring some pressure, or do they play coverage? Got a couple of stand-up ends. They're going to bring a blitz, I believe. Here it comes. Altmaier under pressure, steps up, and he's going to be sacked back at the 37-yard line. That's Keandre Gill. The 2nd sack for him, 3rd tackle for loss, and the Wildcats get off the field.
And that was the fastest 3 and out I think we've seen from Starkville High tonight. And if this is how the second half's going to go, it's going to be a very close game. Back and forth on defense, neither offense really getting much going from their main guys out there.
Peyton Rogers will punt it away. Tyrell Timms, Kylan Tippett back deep to receive, and well, that Louisville defense has certainly played much better, and now you do wonder if they've just made the proper adjustments as the punt comes to the near side. Timms will take it at the 30, straight ahead, and he runs into a sea of black jerseys, but he'll have at least a decent return of about 5 after the punt, and the Wildcats will have solid field position for their 2nd trip offensively.
And the most success they've had on offense here has been their running back Foster, making these big chunk plays. Shoemaker's had a few good passes, a few deep passes that have turned out well, but I think the key for them here is getting Foster involved, maybe, being able to break through this the Starkville High School defensive line.
Foster is in the backfield with Shoemaker. They've thrown it a lot tonight. They'll do it again. Quick pass over the middle, caught by Mosley. He's going to head far side, and he is into Starkville territory at the 47-yard line. They found something there, but Mosley comes up hobbling, and that is really tough to see if you're Louisville, as he is struggling to get up off the field and in serious pain as the Louisville training staff comes out to see about him.
It looks like he's clutching for that ankle, and if he's out for this game, that's going to be really tough for them. He is Shoemaker's guy, and he is definitely hurt, and you can see it.
Yeah, he's certainly at first hoping that was maybe a cramp, but he is in real pain, and certainly we hope that he will be all right. We'll see if Frank can find out about that down there on the sidelines, if they'll give any word to our venerable sideline reporter. But you're right about that. If he can't, come back and be healthy, that will certainly take a big play threat away, as they put it at the 48-yard line. 18 on that pass and catch. And I've seen some coverage bust and a little more success in the passing game tonight from Louisville than I imagined coming in. Shoemaker can certainly throw it, but not a lot of teams have had great success. And he's under pressure here. Will spin to the far side, and we're going to have a penalty flag. This is going to be one of those blindside blocks that's going to result in a penalty, and I believe that's going to be the left tackle, Nasir Brown, number 75. We'll see on the replay.
Yeah, and he already got one penalty called against him earlier, and this is the second one tonight. And you got to figure out something better to do. I know it's a play going to give your quarterback a little chance to get back to that line of scrimmage, but it's going to put him even further back now.
Well, that would have been a loss just with Shoemaker stepping out of bounds, but this penalty flag is going to really put Louisville in a bind on this possession.
And the way they're playing right now, if they keep this up, they're going to keep giving the ball to Starkville High with pretty good field position. So you got to hope they can get something positive out of this offensive drive as they go even further back out there.
So they will move the football all the way back to the 27-yard line. It's a spot foul. And this will be probably the longest first down play that Louisville has run maybe in its entire football history. They've got to get it all the way to the Starkville 37-yard line. So this is 1st and 36.
It's not something you see every day.
No, you don't. And this is going to be tough for any offense, but certainly tough for Louisville too. And now we've got another penalty flag, and this might be 5 more in that direction.
Yeah, nothing's going right for Louisville right now. Then they lose Caleb Mosley, and then 2 huge penalties put them so far back. They, basically don't have much of a chance here to kind of, get this first down. That's going to be what now? A 1st and 41.
They'll put it at the 22. That's right, 1st and 41. So that certainly kills this drive. And now if you're Louisville, I think you just hope you can get some yards and maybe flip the field at least a little bit. But disappointing for them. They lose Mosley on this drive, and then they have the blindside block that just really, really crushed the momentum as the pass comes to the near side and a little bit low as Dontavius Triplett had to go to a knee. So only a pickup of 4, maybe 5 on the pass play. So this is, when you're trying to come in, especially when you're trying to come into a place where Starkville has not lost in a long, long time, and you're trying to beat a 6A school, you certainly can't have mistakes like this. And Louisville need a miracle to pick this up as it comes to the near side again, and a great open field tackle. That's Kyrie Gee, number 5, who upended Triplett. They'll give him a gain of 1. A great open field tackle, and Gee there immediately. This will be 3rd down and 36.
How much are you willing to bet that they're going to do a halfback draw to Foster here?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, and if you're Starkville, certainly I don't think you press very much. Most teams don't have the 3rd and 36 in the playbook, and you called it. It's a draw play to Foster, and he'll pick up maybe 3 to the 30, and that will be it. So a promising drive will come to an end. The bigger issue is going to be that injury to Mosley and whether or not he can come back, as we've got a heat timeout that will stop things with 5:58 to play in the 3rd quarter. We'll step aside as well. 14-7 Starkville on Max South Sports. So 4th down and 33 for the Wildcats. They will punt it away. This will be Roper Stutes who will kick it to the ever dangerous Jatavius Lucius.
Hopefully Starkville High School can get some good field position out of this, maybe get a nice little return into the Wildcats territory.
No, that's not going to happen. Stutes with a great punt. Now we've got a couple of flags, and we've got some pushing and shoving over here to the near side. Two referees toss their flags. Now Coach Shorter is all the way on the field, almost to the hash marks, and he is all into the face of Keandre Gill, number 6. We'll see if we can catch it. You see it at the bottom of your screen. That's what it is right there. It's Gill and Chris Luckett, the senior free safety, as they just continue to go at it before teammates separate them. It was a great punt for Stutes, and downed all the way at the 25-yard line. He got great roll on it. But now we'll have to check the marker. At least from there, it looked like it may be offsetting penalties. But we don't know what preceded that or if anything. So we'll have to wait for our referee to sort it out. But, boy, both teammates pulling their guys away. And how about Coach Shorter coming all the way from the Louisville sideline as we take another look at it. And so far, it looks like these two guys both just a little bit of a punch there, a little bit of a punch there. So I think both guys may end up having themselves get personal foul penalties, or who knows beyond that. But Coach Shorter was not having any of it, and he came all the way to get after Keandre Gill, and he's had a fantastic night. Couple of sacks, 3 tackles for loss. And if you fear the worst in your Louisville and he ends up becoming somebody that has to be sacrificed from this contest for that play, that takes away your best defensive pass rusher against an offense that really likes to throw the football.
It looks like the referee's going to take a second to decide what to call on this one, because with his punches being thrown, you got to be so careful, and hate to see it happen on both sides. I mean, especially with Gill from Louisville, he's been integral to that defense tonight. If any chance of losing him would really set them back.
And you see Chris Luckett there, number 11 for Starkville, just pacing the sidelines. Coach Shorter was still in the face of Keandre Gill, and he just doesn't want anything to ruin their chances. I mean, they had themselves a rough start. They have battled and gotten themselves right back in it. That was a great punt by Stutes to flip the field. And we'll get the call from our referee, and he will decide the fate, along with the rest of his crew, of these two players and what might happen. Well, first he may go over to Chris Jones and give him an explanation.
Yeah, going to be curious to see what they actually call this.
Well, we got a couple of looks at it. Just looked like two guys really being too aggressive, and looked to me from that angle that we'd be looking at just personal foul penalties on both. But don't know what the referees are thinking beyond that. We'll get our call now.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the kicking team and unsportsmanlike conduct on the receiving team.
So that's what we thought, just offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. So both players will still be in the ball game, and the ball will be scrimmaged from the 25-yard line, which is where it was down. Stutes got off a great punt, kind of angled it towards the Starkville sideline, and then took a great bounce on that turf. I think Lucius would probably be the first one to tell you should have picked that one up. So a good punt to flip the field, and a break for both teams, but especially for Louisville, because quite frankly, Chris Luckett, solid player, but hasn't had the impact that Keandre Gill has had in this ball game for Louisville. So the Wildcats catch a break there. Nothing further happens. So we'll see if he gets back onto the field. He's not out there right now. And Starkville, with their third possession of the half, will start on the ground, straight up the middle. Howard, and there's just no running room there at all. We've started to see this offense revert back to the struggles for really the first 3 weeks, and that's being able to run the ball up the middle.
And it's just not working for them here tonight. What they're really going to have to move this ball, they're going to have to rely on Altmaier's arm or maybe even his legs. We saw him make some really positive plays with his legs early on, and, he's got to get open, and he's got to make some plays to put them up. They've got this one possession lead, but that's not much out here tonight.
So 2nd and 7. See if Altmaier can get into rhythm offensively. He'll come down the middle of the field or near side to Lucius, and that pass is caught, and Lucius able to deliver the lick. A big play in the passing game. That's what we saw early, and the Yellow Jackets inside Louisville territory.
Not only reminded him he could catch the ball, but also reminded him, hey, don't try to take me on out here tonight.
Down to the 44-yard line. So a big play for Altmaier in the passing game. And the Yellow Jackets trying to find some points on the board. Altmaier going to keep it on the read option, straight ahead. And Altmaier down to the 31-yard line. Give him 13 there. As this offense perhaps finding its rhythm again with under 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. And we've got an injured Louisville player, as that's going to be number 1, Tyrell Timms.
Looks like he's trying to stay on the field, but looks like Coach Shorter is not having it. He's about to go on the field and take him off himself if he has to.
Well, certainly got to come out if you're injured, can't stay in there. So they will replace the junior safety with number 47, Arian Johnson, the sophomore DB. And we'll see if Louisville can withstand this pass play here to the far side. And a great move heading to the far side of the field. Another big play inside the 10 and down inside the 5-yard line. A huge play as Orion Thompson able to make the catch, break a tackle, and it's 1st and goal, Yellow Jackets.
And fantastic job on that play. I mean, as soon as he caught it, he was breaking tackles left and right and got a lot out of it when I really thought it might not be that much.
Altmaier on the quarterback keeper straight ahead. Can't quite get to the end zone, and the whistle will blow at the 1-yard line, which is where the Jackets will have it. So 2nd and goal as Starkville wants to go fast. Altmaier already 1 rushing touchdown tonight.
Looks like they're going to go right back at it, and he's going to hand it off to him.
Right side, Jordan Mitchell being stood up. Now is he in there? No signal yet. And they're going to say he did not get in as Louisville holds up. It'll be 3rd and goal inside the 1, and the Wildcats with a great goal line stand. And now I believe Altmaier is going to come off the field. As you see there, Louisville just able to withstand it and get Mitchell inside the 1. So a heavy package now for the Jackets. And it looks like it'll be Nigel Johnson who will take the snap, perhaps. Can't tell the number from there. It'll be a direct snap straight ahead. And the ball is fumbled into the end zone. There's no signal yet. And now Louisville has recovered it. No signal. And Louisville says they've got it. The officials are still talking about it. I haven't seen a signal yet. Well, the official to the near side says it's a touchdown for Starkville. He's the only official that has signaled anything. As the Yellow Jackets have sent the extra point team out there, and I believe it's a touchdown. So they're going to say touchdown. Coach Shorter's out on the field. There's a quick snap by Starkville as Rogers will boot it through, and the kick is good. So your new score with 3:29 to play in the third quarter, Starkville 21, Louisville 7. Oh boy, and now we've got a flag on the far side of the field as Coach Shorter has been out there trying to get his money's worth with the officiating. And that might be 15 on him. We'll assess all of that. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back. You're watching high school football on Max South Sports. So after the 15-yard penalty on Coach Shorter of Louisville, Peyton Rogers kicks it off from the Louisville side of the field, and he gets it about 15 yards out of the back of the end zone. So the Yellow Jackets drive it down the field. They pick up a touchdown, their first since the second drive of the contest, and now get their 14-point lead back. Frank gave us an injury update during the timeout that Caleb Mosley got some treatment, and he had his helmet on like he was going to come back into the ball game. And it does look like he is coming back in, number 13 for the Wildcats. He is lined up on the far side of the field and will be at the very top of your screen.
It looks like he's going to try to play out there.
His injury in that blindside block just crushed the last drive, and there's a tackle for loss as the Starkville defense continues to be dominant as Tippett hit behind the line of scrimmage. It's Jalen Ware was number 8, but it was Tyrese Hopkins, number 7, who got there and made the stop.
Yeah, there was no chance on that. He had him wrapped up from the get-go on that one. Just beat his guy on the side and got right to him.
So 2nd and 14 for the Wildcats, and they're in desperate need of a big play here. They were moving along. They were in this contest in the third quarter, had a first down inside Starkville territory on the previous possession. It just did not go well as that pass is tipped and nearly intercepted. They're trying to find Christian Rush on a dig route, and Shoemaker just couldn't quite fit that one in there. And fortunately for him, it hit the turf.
Yeah, and even though Starkville High got a hand on that one, it still looked he might be able to come up with the play, but unfortunately, it's going to be a 3rd and long for them again tonight.
So Louisville will have to get it to the 30. Not been great on 3rd down. They were 2 for 6 at the break. As the Yellow Jackets will go with a 3-man rush, a simple draw up the middle, and that won't net very much as that interior defensive unit led by Jalen Ware able to make the stop. And we've got a sideline warning against the Yellow Jackets. That won't amount to much. It'll just be a warning. So a 3-and-out forced by the Starkville defense. And that Louisville defensive unit will have to go right back onto the field as Starkville now has a chance.
Coach Jones did not like that call, too. He had a jawing with the ref on that one a little bit.
Stute will kick it away as Shatavius Lucius will field it if it's near him. He's dangerous in the return game. And Stutes will boot it away, far sideline. That one not a good punt at all. And we'll see where this one is marked. Starkville's going to get outstanding field position. They'll start at the Louisville 34-yard line with 2:01 to go in this third quarter and a chance to get their largest lead of the night if they can put points up on the board here.
Yeah, and you got to think they're going to be trying to go to Howard a good bit out here, maybe run some clock, just get some positive yardage and keep that clock running. I know it's a 2-possession game, but Louisville has shown how dangerous they can be on offense with these big chunk plays.
So 1st and 10 at the 34. And Altmaier is in there. So we have not seen Nigel Johnson here in this second half. It's been all number 9, as you would imagine. He has quarterbacked all 3 touchdown drives. He'll start on 1st down, and he'll start with a sack. The ball is fumbled. Louisville has picked it up, and a huge turnover forced by the Wildcats.
And every time Starkville has this opportunity to, start moving the ball and really kind of put the game away for them, get up 3 possessions at least, this keeps happening, and now a fumble by Altmaier, who's been pretty solid on that ball security tonight. No turnovers before this.
Shantez Timms, number 37, able to recover the fumble. So a big stop by the Louisville defense and a change of possession. We'll see if that ignites the Louisville offense at all. Michael Foster, the senior tailback, is back into the ball game.
What I'd like to see them do is try to run on these early downs. They're going through the air so much and then going to that halfback draw on the 3rd down, but they keep going to the air early.
Far sideline, pass is short. They were trying to get it to Hawthorne. Would have been about 4 or 5 yards, but the throw just not there. And we can see Caleb Mosley coming back, and I just don't know that he's going to be able to go much more. Hobbling and will come off the field for this play. And certainly understand his willingness to give it a go, but I'm not sure he can be much of help for this offense at this point. And that's a huge loss for the Wildcats if he can't at least be healthy coming in, as this pass to the near side is nearly intercepted. 2 receivers in the area and almost picked off by the Jackets. That was Justice Robinson and Shoemaker, awfully lucky on this throw.
Yeah, now another, 3rd and long for them. So they keep going to the air too soon, I feel. They're really not using their running back tonight, and Foster's been so great when they give him a chance with the ball, but on these early downs, they're kind of whittling them away with these incomplete passes.
They got to get it to the Starkville 49. Some pressure on that backside. Shoemaker rolls to the near side, and nothing there. Too tall for Jaquavius Hawthorne, and a quick 3 and out. Great job once again by that Starkville defense, which has answered the bell all night.
And he's not had any time in this pocket these past few drives. They're not giving him anything. They're getting right to him, and he's having to make some dicey decisions on these throws. I mean, that one he just had to get out of the, throw it away, which is better than what he was doing in the first half, where he was just taking the sacks or running out of bounds even further back.
Roper Stutes again in there to punt it away, as Jatavius Lucius is at his own 28-yard line right now. Stutes, this time a much better effort, and it will roll. He'll keep it away from Lucius, and that will roll at about the 20-yard line. So Louisville able to work that one out and force the Yellow Jackets to go 80 yards to find the end zone. 1:24 to play here in the 3rd quarter. This was a 14-0 game after about the first 5 or 6 minutes. It looked like Starkville was going to run away and hide. But then Louisville battled back. They made it 14-7 at the break, and they've had a couple of chances, one to either tie it or, like on that last possession after the sack fumble, to move it down the field and make this a one-possession game again. But that Starkville defense remains stingy. And they'll turn it over to Luke Altmaier in the offense to try to get going again. First down, swing pass to the near side, and that one is going to be incomplete. Louisville read that one very well from the get-go, as the pass was too high for Amarian Howard.
And that was great awareness on Altmaier's part, though. He saw both of those guys getting to his running back on that play, so what he did is he just kind of threw it where only the running back could even attempt to make a play on it.
So 2nd down and 10 for the Jackets. Read option, Altmaier straight ahead. He's had success on this play. He'll do it again. Far sideline, takes on a couple of defenders, and Luke Altmaier out near the 35-yard line for a first down.
And as elusive as he's been tonight on these runs, you might think he's a running back posing as a quarterback. He's had so much success missing tackle. Look at this left and right. And, I mean, he's doing so much with his legs out there.
A couple of defenders had a chance at him and whiffed, as they'll go right back to the ground from the 34. And this is Howard, who bangs his way into Wildcat territory, as Starkville beginning to perhaps get some chunk plays on the ground.
And this is exactly what they need to do. They need to get some positive yardage on the ground, and then maybe that'll open up their passing game. Louisville will start loading up that box maybe, and they can have some guys, get some separation from their defensive backs.
19 on that run, and Howard again down to the 40-yard line. Give him another 7. As the Yellow Jackets perhaps maybe dealing with a tired defense as we come upon 30 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. And Starkville is going to continue to go as quickly as they can, especially with this unit on the field right now. It'll be Howard again. Breaks one tackle, breaks a couple of tackles, and finally brought down at the 31-yard line. And they're beginning to lean on that Louisville defense. Another huge game for a first down.
Yeah, you really hope that Louisville doesn't think they're out of this one just yet. I mean, it's only a 2-possession game. I know Starkville's moving it, but you just got the strip sack on the quarterback on the last drive, so maybe they can make something happen here, get a stop, get some more pep in their step.
Perhaps the final play of the quarter. Read option again. Altmaier will keep it, and this time is spun down at the 30. before being brought down. That's the final play of the third quarter. Your score, Starkville 21, Louisville 7. Time now to go down to Frank Dodds, who's with the Mac South Sports Fan of the Game. Frank?
Thank you, guys. One of the largest parts of the fabric of any high school football game is the concession stand, and we tried to highlight them last week. We had technical difficulties. I'm with one half of our fans of the game, Fred and Helen Grady, and tell me who's the boss.
She's the boss.
No doubt that she is the boss, but you guys got here about 4 o'clock in this 95-degree heat. Twice we've been up here. You've been back there with 2 grills going and 2 fry pots, and it's hot, brother.
Oh, yeah, it's hot, man. This time of year, first off in the season, it be hot. But you got to get out there before the game starts and go ahead and get your stuff done before you could be in the heat.
Once again, we'd like to say thank you to Fred Grady and his wife Helen and all the men and women working in the concession stand. And here's your $25 gift card. Congratulations from Mac South Sports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank, thank you very much. And boy, that is right. We were here obviously early, getting everything, our fantastic crew getting everything set up, and they had the grills going, the smoker going. It was not a very cool afternoon here in Starkville, and they were able to get everything rocking and rolling. And as Frank mentioned, I think I'm going to go with the concession stand guys. They do a good job, and they don't really get as much attention sometimes, but they do a good job making sure everybody's taken care of, and certainly appreciate them, and congrats to them on that gift card. Certainly, but Helen Grady can find a way to spend that $25 as we're back to action here. Screen pass to the near side. Another big play for this Starkville offense down to the 12-yard line, and now we've got a late penalty flag thrown as Howard, if the play stands, got Starkville down to the 12-yard line.
You really hate to see them lose such a big play, especially, I talked a lot tonight about Altmaier's awareness, but he waited till those guys had their fingers on his jersey before he took it, past that ball to his halfback.
So we'll wait on the call from our referee. That sportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Yellow Jackets. We'll look at the replay and see if we can see it. As you mentioned, though, beautifully set up screen as Howard gets inside the 15 down to the 12, and that may be it, I guess, right there, perhaps. I don't
Will
know.
Baggett on that one. Looks like he might have gotten some hands a little after the play.
On the flag was not thrown until well after that block, so it must have been maybe either taunting or just something that was said, because that certainly was a late flag for it to have been that block out of bounds. I don't know that would have been it. So instead of it being 1st and 10 from the 12, this is now going to put the football, it should put it all the way back at the 27, but referee still talking about it.
They've been discussing a lot tonight. A lot of these plays have been kind of coin flip on a lot of the big plays tonight, and they've had to discuss them a good bit to try to figure out, what's the right call, and definitely don't want the game affected too much by it.
So we'll see. And they'll put it back at the 27. Now, I would imagine this would be first down. It would be a dead ball penalty. And it looks like what it's going to be. It's going to be 1st and 10. So first down for the Jackets. And then after the 15-yard penalty, they'll put it back at the 27. So 1st and 10. So a mistake there could potentially cost the Jackets some points. We'll see. Altmaier looking, pass to the near side. It's got a man just overthrown. It was Jatavius Lucius, number 1, and Altmaier knows he missed him there. He had him open for a touchdown.
Well, he wishes he could make that throw again, and he saw his guy, he saw him break, and he put it just a little outside of his reach. And maybe if he got a better step, I don't know. It looks like Lucius had a play on that one, but
so he just didn't quite get enough of a sort of laying it up there. So a break for Louisville there, as Altmaier rarely misses those kinds of throws, but able to step into it at least. And now 2nd and 10.
Let's see what Coach Jones calls up here on this one.
Read option again. This time it'll be the give. It's Howard, and Howard bangs his way inside the 10. Altmaier got absolutely hammered on the read option and made the right decision to give it to Marion Howard, and he gets it all the way down to the 8, 1st and goal.
I mean, you can't talk enough about what Altmaier does on the field besides just throwing the ball. He has such good sense of what's going on around him, and he held onto that one and took a big hit.
Howard right back at it, straight up the field. Louisville was trying to run somebody off the field. I don't know if they got there. As you look at the replay, Howard just slipped and didn't get much after that. Don't know if the Wildcats were able to get that defender off the field. I don't see a flag, although there's a lot of discussion between the side judge and Coach Shorter.
I mean, he was doing everything he could to get off the field in time. I mean, he had some hops going.
So this should be, well, I guess it should be 2nd and goal. The marker on the far side has 1st and goal. So I don't know if this is 1st or 2nd down. Altmaier pass far side, doesn't matter. Touchdown, Yellow Jackets. Touchdown, Orion Thompson, and Altmaier, his 3rd touchdown of the night, 2nd through the air.
And he's got such a good just release and touch on these passes, puts him right where he needs to. You know, he overthrew Lucius earlier, but that time it was right on the dime.
We've got an injured Wildcat on the field, number 44, Joshua Nunn, the junior corner, as he is down there around the goal line. A beautiful route and a beautifully thrown ball as we see it again.
And he puts it right where he needs to. And his guy, I mean, he did his job. He got about 5 or 6 feet between him and his defender.
It was Shantez Timms, the linebacker, who recovered the sack fumble on the coverage. And it's the 2nd time the Yellow Jackets have run that sort of combination and found easy success in the end zone. As the Louisville training staff still checking on Nunn.
And now putting this game, you know, a three possession game is about to be, you know, Louisville's got to really be thinking, you know, what can we do? And it looks like their original game plan, maybe not being able to run the ball as much. They're going to have to really put it all on Shoemaker's back, you know, going here forward.
Well, they're still checking on Nunn, now lying on his back. And able to sit up at least. That's a very good sign. And now able to get to his feet. So hopefully he can get to the sidelines and the staff can give him some treatment as he'll be helped off by the training staff and coaches. So good to see Joshua Nunn being helped off the field.
Yeah, it looks like he can't even put any weight on whatever he did. I mean, it's definitely not going to be good.
So Peyton Rogers will be on to attempt the point after, as he'll try to make this a 21-point ball game early in the 4th quarter. His kick is up, and it is good. 28-7 your score, 11-12 to go in the contest. We'll step aside. You're watching high school football on Max South Sports. Yellow Jackets fresh off a touchdown score will boot it inside the 10. Tip it straight ahead and out near the 30-yard line. Solid field position for the Wildcats, and they've really got to get going now. 11:05 to play, down 28-7. And Starkville not as crisp as the first couple of drives of the contest, but that one, 10 plays, 80 yards. Took 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and kind of crazy to see a 10-play, 80-yard drive only take 2:12, but Starkville was able to go down the field. It's an offense that operates in a vacuum, and boy, they are terrific when it's in rhythm. And they've got now complete control of this one. Their defense has been outstanding for most of the night.
And, you know, both defenses have played pretty good, but it's been so...
Got a dead ball personal foul against the Yellow Jackets, so that will move the football from the 29 to the 44. And that's one area where I think both coaches will be frustrated when watching the game tape. So many of these personal foul penalties and mental mistakes here in week number 4. You would imagine that they would have some of those corrected by now, but it's been a bit of a struggle up to this point.
You know, you really got to hope Shoemaker can do something here on offense. You know, they've been given some great field position here. And, you know, there's still time on the clock. This game is not, you know, unwinnable for them.
They'll begin on the ground with Foster. And Foster to about the 46. And, well, I thought we might have had another penalty on Nasir Brown, number 75, the left tackle. He came in late. I don't see one, but he was flirting with a late hit there as Foster picks up about 2 to the 46.
You know, he didn't really have much of an excuse, because if we can hear the whistle from all the way up here, you know, they've got to be able to hear it down there.
So second down and 8. As Louisville will certainly need some chunk plays here the rest of the contest. It'll be Foster trying to come to the near side, and not much there as the Starkville defense able to get there in a hurry, led by Tyrese Hopkins, who forces a loss on the play of 1 back to the 45. And you just simply can't really get around the edge on this Starkville defense. The last couple of years, they've really built on speed and athleticism, and so difficult for teams to try to get around the end. And this Louisville Wildcat squad, when trying to run the football, they've had most of their success straight up the middle. But right now, they're now in a world of hurt. 3rd and 9. They've got to get to the Starkville 46. Shoemaker, far side, pass is incomplete. Would have been well shy of the first down anyway, as he went through the hands of Dontavius Triplett. Just a step across midfield, and that's a quick 3 and out, and that's certainly not what Louisville wanted on that possession.
Yeah, and you know, most, like you said, you know, most of their success tonight has come from these plays up the middle, these chunk plays. You know, most of their better passing plays have come over the middle when they've gotten separated. And you know, Foster's been so dangerous when he's broken past that first line, that defensive line, and they just don't seem to really want to go back to him. I mean, now down 3 possessions, you kind of just have to do whatever you can to get some yards.
Roper Stutes will punt it away. Again, gets a great bounce. Lucius kind of fields it on a hop and then loses the football. It's picked up by the Yellow Jackets coming to the near side, and a chance for a huge play. It's Kyrie Gee inside the 35, inside the 30, and finally dragged down at around the 25-yard line, and one of the stranger plays we've seen so far this year.
I really feel for Louisville on that one. You know, they got so excited to get the fumble from him, but they didn't even notice. You know, Gee coming in, and you're going to see it here and just knock it right out of his hands. And Gee's just there, and the awareness on his part, pick it up and just get going and just go off to the races.
Well, that could have been a huge play for Louisville if they were there to recover the fumble. Would have had a short field and a chance to make this a 2-possession ball game with, you know, maybe depending on how quickly you score, 7, 8 minutes left. At least there's a chance now. You've got Starkville starting from the Louisville 25. Nigel Johnson is in the game. First time we've seen him since the first half. He came in, quarterback 2 drives. Starkville couldn't put points on the board. This will be a pass to Lucius on the far side, and there are 1, 2, 3 flags that come flying in as Lucius is knocked out of bounds.
I'm curious if we're going to see some more blindside blocking. We've seen so much of it tonight, and he was able to get past a few guys in that one. So I wonder if they're going to decide, maybe to just run the ball a little bit more, putting Nigel Johnson back in, maybe get some time off this clock, and maybe just kind of close it out here, being up 3 possessions.
So we'll get a call from our head referee.
And that's going to put them back, get rid of some of that nice field position they had already started with.
So that will put the football back at the 32-yard line. So first down. Johnson will look to throw it. He'll come to the near side, one-on-one, and catch is going to be made inside the 10. What a great play.
Aka has been so quiet here in the second half. In the first half, he'd made a few plays, but on this one, he really came down with it, and he took on his guy, and, look at that. The separation he got, the height he got.
Just went right over Rankevius Johnson, the 5'11 senior outside linebacker, as Johnson able to just kind of throw up a prayer, and the better athlete comes down with it. It'll be first and goal from the 7. It'll be Mitchell, and tripped up as he was trying to turn the corner. Rankevius Hibbler, who's had a really strong night for this Louisville defense, makes that tackle. And there have been some chunk plays for the Starkville offense. As you see, this one, we go right back to it. This one, a straight jump ball, and just go straight up.
The 5'9 receiver on that one.
Swing pass out to the far side, and it's complete to Sam Hunt, and he will be brought down at around the 3-yard line. So a new wrinkle with Johnson in the ball game. And that will set up third down and goal as Starkville tries to put this one on ice. And as the clock's moving, Louisville's going to win this one. They've got to get a stop here, and they cannot afford to give up another touchdown. Johnson straight ahead, left side, powers his way. Touchdown, Yellow Jackets. Nigel Johnson from 3 yards out, and the Yellow Jackets may have just finished this one off. It's 34-7.
And you have to feel for Louisville's defense. They've done so well in so many aspects of this game, forcing turnovers, getting huge stops. But whenever they do, their offense has not been, giving them any kind of break. They've just been turning it over about as fast as they get the ball to them.
See on that replay, the offensive line doing a good job, and Johnson with good size, listed at 6 feet, got into the end zone as Rogers tacks on the extra point. 35-7 your score. We're back after this on Max South Sports. Kickoff taken by Kylan Tippett, and he'll get it out just a shade across the 20-yard line. 7:38 to play. Starkville 35-7. Let's go down to Frank. Frank, what have you seen? Starkville's obviously played much better here in the second half.
Oh, no doubt about it. Two big breaks that went Starkville's way is the diving over the top and having that one called a touchdown, and then fumbling that last punt and picking it up and taking it all the way down the field. So sometimes you got to play, and those breaks help you out. And Louisville, a war of attrition. Nunn wasn't out there defensively that last possession. Mosley was not out there their last offensive possession. Just kind of run out of bodies on a very hot night down here in Starkville.
Yeah, that's a good point. The depth starting to become a bit of an issue for Louisville. The defending 4A state champions, they lost one game last year, and they've been a proud program. Frank talked about the 9 state titles and the shirts they wear pregame, Locked on 10. But this Starkville program has been one of the better programs in the state. They've got a whole bunch of players. Pressure, and he's going to be sacked at the 7-yard line. Ran into one of his linemen. And for the Yellow Jackets, another tackle for loss.
Yeah, and you'll see it here on this one. The lineman, I guess, thought the play was over, and he just happened to be right in the Shoemaker's way on that one, and he went down.
So 2nd down and long, and for Louisville, this game reminds me a tad bit of the Oxford game we saw here a couple of weeks ago, in which Starkville got up early, thought we were going to have a blowout, and combination of the Chargers playing better, Starkville committing some turnovers and not playing as well. It got really tight. Now then Starkville ended up kind of extending the lead, and it's sort of like this one. This game was awfully close here early 3rd quarter as Foster bounces off a defender and is finally brought down at around the 12-yard line. Well, that's a good-looking running back, and he's going to do some damage when they start to get to 4A play beginning in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be some exciting stuff, and we've seen what he can do tonight. I mean, on this play alone, he broke off a few tackles that we really thought were going to take him down, and honestly, if he'd got a little bit of a better spin on that one, he might have been, gone for a few more yards.
That was Keyshawn Lawrence that he sort of ran over, and Lawrence, 6'1", 220-pound junior linebacker, played a lot of running back last year, but they've almost moved him exclusively to the defensive side. He's normally not one to take a lick and see the worst end of it, but did that time as the swing pass out to the far side is complete, but not much running room. It was Dontavius Triplett on the reception. And that will bring us to a heat timeout. We'll keep it here, 5:55 to play in this 4th quarter, 35-7, as Roper Stutes will punt it away when we do get back to action. And obviously, we talked to Frank and just kind of got his his kind of thoughts on it. And I think he's right. Obviously, depth becoming a bit of an issue. But this second half, this was a 14-7 game. Louisville was driving, and then Mosley gets hurt, and that blindside block just completely changed that drive, ended it, and the game has not been the same since.
Yeah, these needless penalties, by both teams, but especially Louisville being down, has really put them in a hole, and their defense has done. I can't speak enough about how much their defense has done for them tonight. On this punt earlier, stopping them, getting the ball out of their hands, and getting the strip sack on Altmaier early on in the 3rd quarter, but their offense just has not done anything for them. They've not been able to move the ball. And these needless penalties are just, pushing them back even further. I don't know, when this game started tonight, I didn't think I'd be watching a 1st and 41.
That's certainly not something you see every week. No question about that. And we talked about, how great Starkville is at home, but they haven't lost a home football game since the first Little Egg Bowl back in 2013. And you think about just the talent that they've had the last few years, and they play in the highest classification in the state, so they certainly see some really good teams that come through here. West Point, Louisville, programs that are very proud, and they have been able to swat away all of them in what has been an impressive run over the last 6 seasons.
And you really got to hope after tonight's game, they're probably going to put them at 2-2 at the end of this one, and from here on out, they're going to start going into that 6A play, and this is when they really have to turn it on. So you really hope that this is the trend for them. This is what's going to really propel them into getting some really big wins down the way.
Roper Stutes will punt it away. He will get it just out of his own end zone as that one angles to the far sideline and goes out of bounds at the 43-yard line. So that's where the Yellow Jackets will begin. 5:48 to go in this one. You expect them to sort of sit on it the remainder of the contest as the Jackets will begin from the 43. And we'll see Jaquez Harris, number 16, the sophomore, who will take snaps on this drive. So this will be the third quarterback for the Jackets tonight. And I don't know that we're going to see a platooning next week. Luke Altmaier sort of got himself back in the groove with a couple of passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. It just looked more like the Luke Altmaier we're used to seeing. And boy, holy cow, they don't blow the whistle. Jordan Mitchell just stiff-armed somebody out of bounds. And that ought to tell you right there just what we've seen. Starkville just getting stronger as the game goes on, and Louisville wearing down.
I mean, from up here, you know, we could have sworn that play was over. They had multiple guys on him, hands on his jersey, spinning him around. And even at the end of that play, you know, the guy out of bounds, he was able to take him down. He did not let up anything on that play.
Jamarcus Island, number 27, who's had a good game tonight, was trying to strip the ball the entire time, and Mitchell wouldn't give it up and then broke a tackle and ended up picking up a 7-yard gain as that carry was taken by Ocean Wilson, a junior. So 3rd down and 5 as clock continues to move. And they're going to let the quarterback throw it, and nearly intercepted twice as Harris was awfully fortunate there as the Yellow Jackets were willing to let him throw it and just kind of get his feet wet some. But that one could have been an interception and headed the other way. Probably not would have amounted to much. But instead, it'll be a 3-and-out for the Jackets. It didn't take as much time off the clock as you would imagine they would want to.
I mean, that last pass went through 3 sets of hands on that play, so definitely got a rocket for an arm on him.
So Peyton Rogers will come on to punt it away. As we're under the 5-minute mark in this one, as it's dribbled back to him, but he's able to catch it and then punt it to the far side of the field, and that one will angle and roll out of bounds at the 14-yard line. So Rogers, another punt downed inside the 20. He's made all 5 of his extra points. He's done a good job kicking it off as well. And that's a weapon that is kind of undervalued, maybe sometimes overlooked at the high school level, is, you know, how good are your special teams and do you have a kicker you trust? Especially if you're like Starkville and you expect to be in the playoffs late and you get into some of these close games, you need a field goal to ice it or force overtime, or, you know, maybe get yourself back into it, and they certainly have one. As the give is up the middle, this is a big gain for Jaquez Timms, the senior running back, as he gets up for a gain of about 20.
And he just had the hole and he went he just went for it. Good thing to Starkville High, their secondary was able to swarm on him, take him down before he got even further on that run.
They'll put it at the 34, so give him 20 exactly. I still think this Louisville team is going to be awfully dangerous at 4A. They've certainly played toe-to-toe with Starkville for about, 2.5 quarters, and I think this is certainly why they play this game. I mean, Louisville's never been shy about scheduling bigger schools, and they've played Starkville a lot over the years. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first time they have played since 2010. But I still think they're going to be a factor in 4A. They're not going to see this kind of speed and athleticism throughout the rest of their schedule, as an injury timeout is called for Nasir Brown, the Louisville left tackle, 6'2", 330, a senior.
You hate to lose his side on that side of the offensive line. You know, it's going to be on the blind side for the quarterback.
Well, with 4:06 left, you would imagine that Louisville might just stick to the run game and see if they can kind of get out of here. They've got some huge games coming up themselves as they will play in Region 4A. They'll fall to 2-2 tonight, but they have certainly developed a culture of winning, and Coach Shorter making the decision to move from Noxubee to Louisville as Tim's able to get to about the 41 around the left end. And he went from one championship winning program to another championship program, and that should be very interesting to see how he makes that move in his first year here at Louisville.
Yeah, I think they can take a lot from this game. They've seen great running back play by Foster. He's broken off some big runs, and their defense has shown them so much here tonight that they can take back with them to their the 4A region. When they play their in-conference opponents, and they've got some great takeaways. They've got to the quarterback a good bit, so if they can just kind of get something from their offense going forward, they might be a pretty big threat in their own division.
Kylan Tippett comes up about a yard short of the first down. First time he gets a carry tonight. He's been in on punt return. And we'll see what Coach Shorter likes to do as you see that clock winding. He might end up just sticking the offense back out there, and it looks like he will. You expect Starkville would probably end up taking a knee anyway. Yes. If they do get the stop on fourth down straight ahead, they won't have to worry about it. Timms into the secondary and a first down for the Wildcats as he gets a couple of nice runs here late and gives Louisville a fresh set of downs.
And we talked about it like before the game. Louisville has such a ground and pound game, and we're seeing some great runs that would have been nice to see at the beginning of the third quarter, or maybe even at the end of or in the first half of the game. But this was definitely a winnable game for them. They just could not get anything going through the air.
Yeah, that's one thing too. They had some chunk plays and got, they didn't sustain drives, and I think that's something that, look, when you can't sustain drives, obviously that's going to be a big problem. And we talked about the pass plays and the success that Shoemaker had throwing the football when he got some time, and then that big chunk run by Foster as Tim's able to get another nice run of about 5. But they just were not able to get that drive where you felt like, okay, they've now found something they can consistently do. And Starkville defense has been awfully good for the most part tonight. Louisville had a couple of chances to put real game pressure on them, but they just couldn't finish the deal. As here's a tackle for loss on the play. Jaden Triplett tackled for a loss of about 3 on the play. Quaylen Nance, the junior linebacker, able to come through and get a loss of about 5.
Yeah, and I guess, Louisville's just going to kind of have a few more runs and finish out this game here tonight and just kind of go home. And, Coach Shorter's going to sit down with his guys and say, guys, this is what worked, this is what didn't. Let's just kind of go into this next week and, see what we can do.
Well, as I mentioned, it's tough to win here. Nobody's done it since Oxford back in 2013. And there's another big tackle for loss. A host of Yellow Jackets on the play. And that's a good way to finish it if you're Coach Jones, and that Starkville defense is now to bring up 4th down and long. And that will put the football all the way back at the 49-yard line. They had that 2nd down and 5. They've lost 9 yards in the last 2 runs. And we've got time for one more play in this one if the play clock is winding down. We'll see how far Louisville takes it. They'll snap it there, just a straight give up the middle. As Timms will be stacked up for a loss back to midfield. And so, in theory, the ball would go over on downs. They're just going to let the clock run, and that's going to be it. Your final score, the Starkville Yellow Jackets 35, the Louisville Wildcats 7. Starkville improves to 2-2 on the year. Louisville drops to 2-2. An impressive victory for the Yellow Jackets. We'll take a break, come back and wrap everything up. You're watching high school football on Max South Sports. Welcome back. 35-7 is your final. Starkville beats Louisville as the Yellow Jackets bounce back from a disappointing loss to West Point last week. And Rick, obviously we talked about it in the pregame. How would this Starkville offense respond? Coach Jones said we would see both quarterbacks, Luke Altmaier, who had been the starter, and also Nigel Johnson, who came in relief and threw 3 touchdowns last week. And it was Luke Altmaier's night tonight. 3 touchdowns, 2 through the air, and really looked like the guy that we've seen the last year and a half.
Yeah, and it looks like for the rest of the season he's probably going to continue to be that guy. Nigel Johnson, he came out and he had some decent plays out there, but he was really unable to really get the offense going and get them moving. And, they had such a good thing, a good rhythm going with Altmaier, and then taking him out kind of allowed Louisville to come back into the game. But I'm thinking from here on out, Coach Jones is probably just going to stick with Altmaier at QB, especially when they get it going into the 6A games.
Well, they had the first 2 possessions of the contest, and Starkville went right down the field. Altmaier was 6 for 6 for 90 yards. He got a 9-yard passing touchdown, an 8-yard rushing touchdown, and it really looked like that offense was back in sync, and we could see some huge numbers put on the board. And then, obviously, the matchup was scripted. Coach Jones decided to bring in Nigel Johnson and give him a couple of possessions, and you could just tell the offense wasn't the same. A little surprised by that, and then by the time Luke Altmaier got back in there, it didn't seem like he had the same sort of rhythm, and this thing was a real game. Louisville played well the last quarter of the first half and in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, and you thought maybe there when they were driving they would have a chance to come back and tie this ball game up, and then the Mosley injury and the blindside block really changed the whole complexion of the ball game.
Yeah, the penalties really killed them here tonight. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that when you're looking at the final score being 35-7, but in the third quarter coming back from the half, that was definitely a game that they could have won, but like you said, these needless penalties, by their guys, and then the Mosley injury, I think, was a huge part of it too. He was Shoemaker's guy. He was really one of the few reasons he was able to move the ball through the air tonight. It was his hands. But like you said, Altmaier, it took him a while to get back into the rhythm in the second half, and I think going forward, Coach Jones is just going to have to look at it and say, let's keep what's going, let's keep that rhythm going, because that seems to be what works for our guys.
And then certainly in the second half, they were able to get some big plays. Altmaier looked really good, but that defense was terrific all night long. And they've been good throughout most of the year. Last week they had a disappointing performance, and they wanted to come back and play well, and they did that tonight, holding a Louisville offense to just 7 points. In doing so, when they knew that Shoemaker was going to try to throw the football, they basically took the running game away, and then they were able to finally get some sacks and get some big plays in the secondary. As literally Frank Dodds has got our coach Chris Jones of the Starkville Yellow Jackets and our Max South Sports Player of the Game as well. So Frank, take it away.
Thank you, guys. Coach Jones, close game there in the first half. Couple of good bounces went your way in the second half. What'd you tell them at halftime?
Just finish, like we talked about before. Finish drives, and we didn't do a good job of finishing tackles, finishing on third down, getting off the field. It's all about finishing and just doing the little stuff right. We got a long ways to go, proud of the win, but we're not where we want to be by no means. So like I told the kids, the grind don't stop. We're going to come back Sunday, come up with a good game plan, get ready for Meridian.
Exactly. You've got Meridian coming here. This place has been electric for you. Talk about how important it is to play well here in front of the whole crowd, including against Louisville, who's just 35 minutes away. There was a lot of chippiness out there on the field tonight.
Most definitely. I actually live in Louisville, so I've been kind of hearing the noise all week. But, it was a great rivalry, fun, for both sides. Just come out here and compete at a high level. So I was proud of my guys, though, for just keeping it cool and staying calm through even the little storm that we had to weather right here. But at the end of the day, it's one play at a time, and it's also one game at a time. So this game is over with, so we'll move on. And like I said, we'll just get ready for Meridian.
Good luck the rest of the season. Thank you, Coach. Guys, back to you.
Frank, thank you. We'll have our Max Out Player of the Game in just a second. And you heard him talk about a big rival win, and, of course, lost a big rivalry last week against West Point, and knew it was going to be an emphasis. This Louisville team, I think, will be very good in the 4A region, but just could not stand up tonight. And one of the big reasons why was the defense of Starkville, and Frank's got our Max South Player of the Game. One of those guys on the defensive front. Frank?
Thank you, guys. Jalen Ware here with me, the senior defensive lineman. Talk about what was going on out there tonight, what you guys did to adjust and stop them, really shut them down.
Oh, we came out and we prayed hard this week. we came out and we did, a great job in practice this week. So, it turned over into Friday game.
I asked you before we went on air where you're going next year, and you said you didn't know. But I wanted to make sure you had the grades to get there. Tell me how good those grades are.
Oh yeah, so the A's and B's, and then like it's one C there.
You can pull that C up, and we love to have defensive linemen as our player of the game. Congratulations, and we've got a T-shirt from Max South Sports for being our player of the game.
Yes, sir.
Guys, back to you.
Frank, thank you. He certainly earned it. He was fantastic tonight, along with most of that Starkville defense, surrendering just one touchdown against a very good Louisville offense. So the Yellow Jackets bounce back from a loss last week, even their record at 2-2, as the schedule will start to get a little bit tougher and the game's a little more important. But a good job to bounce back tonight. Luke Altmaier, he was the big story coming in, had a great game, and we'll see if he sort of regains the every down trust of the coaching staff. So that will wrap it up for us from right here in Starkville. A big win for the Yellow Jackets tonight as they improved to 2-2 on the season, while Louisville drops to 2-2. For our entire Max South Sports crew, for Frank and Rick, I am Jeremy Kennedy. You've been watching high school football on Max South Sports. Good night from Starkville.